Hi there, and welcome back to the HQ. Today we are going to be reacting to Monster Girl Quest. Incredible story, poor taste. So, if you don't know, I love Monster Girls, and I love the game Monster Girl Quest. I've played the game a few times, and I love it. It is one of my favorite visual novels. It is, there's reasons why I can't play it on YouTube, obviously, which we'll learn about soon enough. But this video here, this lovely video by Snowy Snow, is going to deep dive into Monster Girl Quest. And hopefully, by the end of this, you will love it just as much as I do. So let's dive right in and learn all about Monster Girl Quest together, shall we?
Monster Girl Quest is one of my favorite games.
The censor, oh my god.
Others. I can't for the life of me figure out why.
Yeah, I wonder why.
A popular belief, I don't actually have that much shame. Monster Girl Quest is a beautiful story with themes that are still way ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
With a system bursting with style that to this day I have not seen replicated. But at the same time, it has questionable choices that greatly limit how much you can gush about the game to myself or others.
Yeah,
However,
unfortunately.
for now.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are some questionable aspects, which I'm sure she'll get into later. But, like, yeah, there are aspects of this game that, unfortunately, you have to kind of just accept as it being a Japanese game made in the mid-2010s, or the late 2010s, or early 2010s, late 2000s.
I would explain the genius and tragedy of Monster Girl Quest.
Yeah.
But first, this video took me a really long time to make.
300 hours, lots of Photoshop, and lots of keyframing.
I had to play
Go
the whole
support
thing
her.
Twice. Then
Oh,
I
yeah.
I had to take notes.
Oh, I can't.
Monster Girl Quest was developed by Toro Resistance and was released in 3 separate chapters. Part 1 released in 2011, Part 2 also in 2011, and Part 3 in 2013.
Oh, all the
While
censoring.
The studio has made some Monster Girl audio releases before, this was their first actual game. The Monster Girl Quest trilogy took inspiration from all parts of the Monster Girl community, the biggest of which being the Monster Girl Encyclopedia by Pinko Cross. The community...
Somebody should gift me the Monster Girl Encyclopedia sometime. I'm just saying. I'd love to have that in physical form, so somebody should gift that to me.
He was in full force behind this game, as many different artists took part in the project.
Oh,
Pinko
yeah.
Cross is the artist behind the secondary protagonist and most recognizable figure of the series, Alice. But we...
Yeah. God, if I could have, like, just another VTuber model, just of anything, it would be of Alice. I would love to have a VTuber model of Alice so much. Oh my god.
We'll get to her later. Most of the artists are retained for the sequel, Monster Girl Quest Paradox.
I've played that too.
Directly after the original game's completion.
Oh yeah.
Now just a note, this is a hentai game, so of course I will be censoring some stuff and probably cut some parts out throughout this playthrough for
obvious reasons. Yeah.
The final chapter for that.
Yeah. But yeah, I've also played that, Monster Girl Quest Paradox, and it is phenomenal game. It is a full-blown RPG with like a Shin Megami Tensei style like job system. It's super in-depth, super complex, amazing game.
The game was just recently released. However, the third part has not been translated to English yet, so I have not played it.
Well, the third part at this point, yeah, it's been translated at this point, so...
Translated from the original Japanese.
Yeah.
The original Monster Girl Quest trilogy was translated by a mysterious individual named Rogue Translator, who, in-universe, uses heavenly power for the sake of Monster Girls to translate, but in real life is just a successful IT guy.
Of course.
Although he retired from translating upon the completion of the original trilogy, he inspired a successor named Dargoth to translate the Paradox trilogy. As it turns out, both
doing
Rogue
the Lord's
and
work
Dargoth use divine powers to translate the games. Yeah, they have some really funny lore. These games are incredibly dialogue heavy, so the work is massive 60+ hour RPG is incredible. Monster Girls have crazy influence. If this video does well, then I will begrudgingly force myself to play the game and make a video on it as well.
Yeah.
The sequel,
and naturally, she has done that. And it is a 6-hour-long video, and there's a reason why I'm not going to watch it for the channel.
Seems much more ambitious than the first game, foregoing the visual novel style for a grander scale RPG.
Oh yeah, it's a full-blown RPG.
The best part of the game to me has always been the art, so I look forward to seeing new and improved cutscenes from the artist with really distinct art styles.
Like the
I also look
various,
forward to the new
all of the
Shin
art
Megami
is
Tensei style
amazing.
gameplay
Oh
because
yeah,
the gameplay of the original trilogy is incredible. It is truly one of those games that you say you play for the plot or gameplay, but then it actually
yeah.
becomes true.
That.
At
Oh
first
my God,
glance,
it's
the
so
game appears
true.
to be a simple turn-based RPG, which I know put half of you to sleep just hearing, but in reality, it's actually a puzzle game.
It's
You
nothing
start
like a
out as
Rubik's
Luca,
cube.
a soon-to-be hero living on the continent of Ilias, named after the goddess they worship. Luca has visions of Ilias in his dreams, in which she encourages him to set out quickly to slay the evil monster lord and her army of monster girls that attack men for their essence. Despite the teachings of
Yes, for their essence. Their essence is what they take. You know, nothing else, just their essence.
Ilias being to completely wipe out monsters, Luca truly dreams of coexistence between humans and monsters. Even from Luca's sheltered worldview, he knows it is not impossible, as humans were beginning to come around to the idea until the slaughter of Remina 30 years ago, named after the town believed to be completely massacred by monsters.
Oh,
Luca
believed
that
to
by killing
be.
the evil monster lord, coexistence can be achieved. Luca trains his whole life for this task, idolizing the hero
I love,
Iwich, who defeated a monster
I
lord
love
500
that
years
fucking
ago.
effect so
Once
much.
he is ready, he departs for his local temple where he will become a hero through baptization. But right as he is about to leave, the village is attacked by a slime girl. The freaky dog is not part of the design. It's just what I'm going to be using as a sensor.
The freaky
since
dog.
This game is an arrow gay after all, and I
Yeah.
really like this image. Now, Luca doesn't have to
I like the
attack
image
her,
too,
as
yes.
The village is already heavily guarded due to being right next to a holy site of Ilias, but Luca charges forward before any guard can. Thus begins the first encounter, which acts as the tutorial for the unique combat. The slime girl kind of messes around because, despite being the very first combat, your main form of attack
Yeah,
does not
naturally.
work.
Yeah, naturally, your first enemy is obviously going to just be a slime. Naturally, as you would with any JRPG, as first enemy, slime.
Luca slices through her body with his sword, but it simply phases right through her.
Yeah, doesn't do
The
shit.
slime girl laughs and jumps at Luca, initiating the first instance of a bind attack. When Luca is bound, the only action you can take towards winning is to struggle. While you struggle to break free, you are still being attacked every turn until you eventually break free. This can be a death sentence, as if you were bound the turn before you intended to heal, you'll probably just die.
Oh yeah, like this game, it is not a traditional RPG. It is a visual novel with RPG-esque mechanics, and the battles aren't even really just full-on battles. It's more like, it's like, you know, as it was explained in the beginning here, they're much more like puzzles, where you gotta figure out how to balance the resources you have and overcome the challenge in front of you. A lot of the time, it can be trial and error, which is kind of bullshit, if you ask me, but most of the time, you could typically, if you, as long as you're reading what's in front of you, hard ask, I know, but as long as you're reading what's in front of you, and you get a grasp on on what's going to happen, know when to defend, know when to like heal, know when to use specific moves, then yeah, it shouldn't be too difficult. I've been able to get through this game before without succumbing to a single enemy, and playing all the way through, like start to finish like that. So yeah, it's all about just knowing how to read your opponent, looking for context clues, etc.
So, you have to keep your HP right above where you won't die from furious turns of damage, but still need to be attacking constantly, or else you'll lose the endurance battle.
Yeah.
However, Luca is still fresh out of his innocent JRPG town, so he doesn't know how to do any of
Yeah,
it yet.
he's still a new blood. He's still green.
It's a genius idea on how to defeat her. Rather than learn any cool techniques or awaken some edgy demon powers, he flails wildly. Swinging wildly and randomly, Luca flings off pieces of the slime girl, upsetting her, making her cry, and causing her to run away.
You made the poor slime
Luca basks
cry.
in the glory of his first victory, enjoying the scenery of the forest until he is interrupted by a loud crash in the distance. Upon investigating, Luca discovers an unconscious Lamia sitting in a crater. Luca has two choices: run from the forest and hurry to his baptism, or take care of the vulnerable monster.
Hot Lamia GF? Yes,
Luca
please.
runs to the Lamia's side, unable to abandon a defenseless
Yes, please.
creature.
Hot Lamia
The
GF.
Lamia quickly wakes up and begins interrogating Luca. Staying honest, Luca recounts the situation before him. Since the Lamia is clearly fine, Luca tries to leave, but is promptly stopped by the Lamia. She asks him, "Why don't you kill me?" "Because I dream of a world where humans
Because
and
Luca
monsters
is a
can
good boy.
coexist." The Lamia laughs at Luca and lets him go. He rushes to get his baptism,
Hmm.
but it's too late. His prayers are met with silence. Having been insulted by a Lamia and denied the title of a hero,
Insulted
Luca
by a
sucks, feeling like
Lamia.
he is merely a child in this world. Upon returning home, he is shocked to find the very same Lamia just chilling in his house.
I want to know, how the heck did Alice get into his house without being seen? That's what I want to know. They're like literally, they're in a village specifically that hates monsters and monster girls. How did she get just into his house? How did she pull that off?
The Lamia rudely demands food, much to Luca's dismay.
Give me burger.
After eating all of his
Give me a
food,
burger.
She reveals that she was intrigued by Luca's dream of coexistence.
Same,
and offers to accompany
honestly.
him on his path to slaying the Monster Lord, acting as her gourmet chef. Confused, but not in any position to say no, Luca agrees. The Lamia reveals herself to be Alfie's vtuberen, or Alice for short. Now, Luca doesn't realize this, but Alice is the current Monster Lord.
Yeah.
Luca
That's the funniest thing about Monster Girl Quest, is that for like the whole first act of the game, you're literally just on a mission to slay the Monster Lord, and your companion is the Monster Lord. It's the funniest thing to me that like Luca doesn't catch on until you're about ready to leave the first
Elise's
island.
journey is doomed without Elise's baptism, but Alice makes fun of him and encourages him to journey onward anyway. That's when suddenly they are attacked by another monster girl, the Slug Girl. I won't comment on every design, or else
I
this
will.
video would be 10 hours long.
I certainly will. Slug Girls, peak 10 out of 10. I love their designs so much.
I wanted to point out how awesome the designs are.
Oh my
This is a
god, the
real
dog.
Monster Girl game. None of that boring normal girls, but with horns
Absolutely.
or elf ears you may see elsewhere.
Absolutely.
real freak
None of that
power,
none of that
believe it or not,
Moemon
the
shit.
freakiness
We
has
are
actual thematic
freaky.
relevance later
We
on.
are
Luca
freaks.
attacks the Slug Girl, but still sucks at his job and is unable to harm her. Luca turns to Alice for help, but she is gone.
Yeah, she's
Thinking
dead.
quickly, he reaches into his bag for the ultimate anti-mollusk weapon, table salt. He throws it at her, causing the Slug Girl to flee, but angering the returning Alice, who wanted it for her food. Luca rightfully questions why she ditched him, but she explains
Yeah,
that she doesn't want
you lost
monsters
all
to
the
see
food
her,
salt.
and that she will
fighting
merely
the Slug
observe Luca
Girl.
during his battles, offering advice along the way.
Don't
Whether he
die,
wins or
I'm
loses is
hungry.
not her concern.
That's
Luca got
valid.
lucky
That is
there
100%.
because despite
That's
training for
Alice.
many years, he can barely protect himself. To remedy this, Alice teaches him his first skill, Demon Decapitation. This skill was used by the similarly
The
small
text!
but nimble Dark Elf Zack to chop off the heads of 100 humans. Mortified,
God.
but still grateful, Luca improves. This is the first skill that uses skill points, or SP. SP is regained every turn, but the amount you start with each battle is dependent on Luca's readiness. If he is ambushed, he will likely start with just 1 or even 0.
Yeah, that's what I love about the battle system here. Is that it's just not just like a generic RPG where it's like you start off with a set amount of health, it's health and stuff, and like SP, but like instead you start off depending on the context in game. It informs how much SP you have when at the start of a battle. So it's like you can like if you enter a fight willingly, you'll have your max SP, you're ready to fight. But if you get ambushed by a random encounter that you might find along the way, along your path, like it's all scripted and story stuff, of course, but like if you're caught off guard in a fight, then you will wind up with like less SP, maybe even none. And it's like with each time you level up, because yeah, there is EXP in the game, but it's very scripted and you're leveling up. I believe when you start off, you only have like 2 or 3 SP. So you have to be very careful with your SP usage. But as you get higher and higher, you'll have like 10 and 15 SP as you get, more as you get higher level.
If he is prepared, however, he will start with all of them. Questioning Alice's motives further, Alice reveals her dark secret. She's actually a sightseer of local delicacies. How cute.
Totally.
Luca still sees Elias in his
Totally.
dreams, and as such continues to pray to Elias every morning, but Alice points out how contradictory it is to be
You got
all
an
of
angel
Elias,
bitch
yet
just
wish for
whispering in your
coexistence.
ear.
They continue onward to the next town, Iliasburg, before running into a giant plant in the middle of the road. You are given the choice to pull it out or ignore it. Luca,
Yeah.
in his
I'm
infinite
s-
wisdom, pulls it out.
I'm smart
revealing
enough to
Mandragora,
ignore her.
which is
to
a
ignore
fantasy
her.
creature resembling a root plant whose self-defense mechanism is to scream and thus paralyze those nearby. It relentlessly attacks the paralyzed Luca before he's able to steer himself up and attack back,
Yep.
driving it away with a single barbaric attack action.
I love how, I do love how the how in this game character like monster girls that are based off of like mythical creatures and stuff, they do have traits of those various creatures. Like the mandragora is screaming as a defense mechanism. Like I love these various
If
aspects
you
to these
choose to ignore the
characters.
plant, you'll simply walk past it, and Alice will praise you for not being stupid. This is what I mean by the game not actually being a true turn-based JRPG. There has not been a single normal battle thus far, and while there are full-on battles later, they will more often than not have some sort of gimmick that relies on you
Yeah.
figuring the enemy's weakness and correctly choosing to attack, use a specific skill, guard, or simply wait. You are given
Yeah, every
experience
fight
after
has a
every
gimmick
battle,
of
but
some kind.
there's no way to grind an area. Before arriving in Iliasburg, Luca asks Alice to switch to a human form as they will likely be incredibly racist towards monsters, and she will be unable to enjoy the food there otherwise.
You know, I honestly do wonder how Luca knew that Alice could transform into a human form. Like if that's just like a common thing that Lamia can do in this world, because I know later on in the game you encounter another Lamia who attempts to trick you into believing she's human by having a human lower half before revealing her snake half. So I wonder if human disguises are just like a common thing for Lamia in this world, or if Luca was just really lucky on the money for guessing that.
However, the town is eerily quiet, and appearing in front of them is Granbaria, one of the four
Oh,
heavenly knights serving under the monster lord.
Granbaria's peak, by the
Granbaria
way.
is here
I
to take over
love
the town, and
Granbaria.
Luca must decide whether to
Absolute
confront
peak.
her or
I love
hide away.
her.
Fighting all of his fear, Luca uses all of his courage to face Granbaria. She commends him for standing up, but easily
Hot
trips
dragon
him.
wife. I
Despite
need
the
her.
threat of death if he were to rise, he gets back up and unleashes demon decapitation. This shocks Granbaria, as this clearly unskilled warrior went from flimsy slashes into imitating a famous monster's ancient technique. She demands to know who taught him, but he refuses to tell, even after being put near death.
Refuses to tell. Really, it's more likely that he's physically unable to tell, because at this point, I'm pretty sure he has like his whole rib cage crushed in. Like, not obviously, but like he's had his shit pushed in at this point in this fight.
Alice intervenes at the last moment, berating her for attacking a town mercilessly and for causing the local delicacy stalls to shut down. Luca thinks to himself, they must be friends, before continuing on. Even Alice is shocked.
They
at how
must be
dense he is.
friends. I guess they're friends, I
Alice
guess.
for their heroic actions driving away Granbaria, treating them to food in an inn reserved for heroes, despite Luca not even being baptized. Wanting to help out more, the duo search for...
Honestly, the end scene, like the end scene when you're checking into the inn, right there, is the first show of like one of the things I love about this game, because it's like it's kind of like a mini commentary on what it means to be a hero. Because like whenever you go to the inn, it's revealed that like, oh, it costs like 2 million gold a night per person to stay at this inn. And but heroes, like baptized heroes of the church, they get a discount of only 2 million gold per person, and the rest is billed to the church. But like Luca initially believes that because he's unbaptized, he can't stay at the hotel. But then like some punk asshole who's like, oh, out of the way, I'm a baptized hero, I'm off to stay at this fancy hotel. But then he gets kicked out because like the hotel owner's like, oh, well, I saw you at that fight, I saw you against Granbaria, you ran away like a punk. And then she looks to Luca and is like, oh, come on, like, you're not baptized, it doesn't matter, you're still a hero, you stood up to that monster, and that's all that matters. And that's another aspect I love about like the various storytelling in this game, because it's like the themes, dog. This is a Euroge, and we've got themes this early on.
Information on troubles within the region. Before departing, you were given options to talk to different people or visit several locations. Although most town dialogue is just for world building.
Yeah, I love the world building of this game, learning about various bits of the world through
There are locations
through
like
the
Blacksmith's,
optional
but you'll never
dialogue.
be able to purchase anything. The game is entirely linear in that manner.
Yeah.
After departing, Alice comments on how Luca is not fighting to his full potential and gives him a new sword, the Angel Halo. Much to Luca's dismay, this is a grotesque sword forged from angels. It certainly does not look befitting of a hero fighting for good.
Yeah.
Rather than attacking
I'd
monsters
love
directly,
to have
this
a
sword
model
can
of
be
the
used to
Angel
seal away their
Halo.
magic, causing their physical form to distort into something harmless until they spend a while recovering the magic or are unsealed by a stronger monster.
Literally, Koro. Literally. This is one of like the third act, like the final acts of this game. It's phenomenal. Like the conversation that Alice and Luca have after the events of Goldport are phenomenal. Like it's great. Like you'll learn very quickly just how much how emotional this story can actually get.
With your newly found information, you can set out to 3 locations and investigate the issues there. While you can choose where to go, there is a recommended level for each area that conveniently gives
Honestly,
you a sequential order to complete them in.
I love how this does this. It like specifically kites you in specific directions. Like it gives you the illusion of optional directions, but it kind of like kites you which way it wants you to go by having level cap, like having a recommended level for each area.
With the highest level being where you continue on your journey north and are unable to return. In the mountains, Luca and Alice search for bandits wreaking havoc across the towns. They discover that the menacing bandits are actually just a mischievous group of young monsters. He beats them with ease and forces them to apologize.
Yeah, there's a reason. There's a reason why they just use funny animal PNGs there. And I'm sure they'll get into that later. But yeah, there's a reason why. And it's one of the reasons why this game is very difficult to recommend to people. It's all I can say is goddamn it, Japan.
Leading to the citizens of Iliasburg hiring them for simple jobs like cashiers or warehouse workers, as they were never a real threat. One of them gives Luca a mysterious red aura, which probably isn't important.
Oh yeah, most certainly. Most certainly, Kuro.
Honey shortage that was greatly
we out of honey. Go check it out.
At the village, they learn that the men there are being kidnapped by harpies, so they travel to the nearby harpy
I love
village
harpies.
with the village's woman in order to defeat the harpy.
Real talk, Queen Harpy, such a baddie. Queen Harpy is such a freaking baddie, dog.
Queen and rescue the men. However, upon the queen's defeat, the men rush out to defend her, as it turns out that the men actually like living there, and the queen ordered the kidnappings so they wouldn't go.
They come out to defend their queen.
Both sides reach a compromise to stop the kidnappings in exchange for the harpies helping out with the beekeeping. Next, they reach Enrica village, but are attacked by elven guards. They are advised to leave by a mysterious elf named Michaela, who claims to know Luca's parents. That being the last of the information they gathered, they head for Iliasport to leave the Ilias continent.
It's casually swiping through monsters. Also, it's funny how much... I don't know which artist they had for Chapter 1 Michaela, but it is funny how, like, her neutral sprite... sexy centaurs? Yes, a few of them, in fact. But yeah, I find it funny, like, the talk sprite for Michaela changes between Act 1 and Act 3, and it changes its aesthetic and look almost entirely. I'm sure it'll show it later.
New combat skill.
But yeah.
Fissure Thunder Thrust. This skill was used by Bloody Fernandez to kill so many people that it formed a wake of blood.
God damn. I love the grotesque stories for each move.
It costs just 2 SP and is most powerful in the first turn, but fades in strength each turn after. If you are prepared enough to be able to use it on the first turn, it is stronger than Demon Decapitation. They try to sail to the center continent, but no ships are sailing due to a powerful storm that destroys all ships.
Not Patchy the pirate.
Unless they attain Poseidon's Bell, a treasure that would protect their ship from the sea's weather. On the way, Alice teaches Luca a new skill, meditation. This is Luca's first and only healing
But yeah,
skill.
as you can see from a lot of these designs, these aren't just Moe girls, Moe monsters. These are real monsters. We're in some real freak hours here.
Would it calm down Luca and solve his issue of overcomplicating?
This is the monster girls I'm into, dog.
But it was also used by the fallen angel Aragora to heal her wounds, somehow. Even weirder is that Luca masters it first try. This skill is by far the most important skill in the game. It costs 3 SP, which is expensive, but it heals half of Luca's health. From here on out, all non-gimmick combat will revolve around balancing SP in order to always have enough to use meditation when needed.
Yep.
While damage skills will end.
That's how it'll be for pretty much every fight going forward.
Surplus SP or need to use a certain skill to not die instantly.
Yeah, just you wait. They get freakier.
Skill point anyways, so
the monster will get even freakier.
Normal attack and only guard if the enemy charges a large attack. The moment you drop to half health, you should meditate as quick as you can, or else you could get hit by a bind attack and die from greed.
Absolutely. Don't get greedy with your attacks.
Treasure is said to be located. Alice runs away like normal.
Like, that's a mimic girl right there.
Rather because she is really, really afraid of ghosts. Luca fights off a kitsune and then immediately rescues her from a spider girl before encountering a very powerful fox monster. The monster puts Luca...
Yeah, that is a fox centaur. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm a little squeaky. I'm sorry if I can get squeaky sometimes. Like, I've been yapping all day and I'm eating some ice cream to kind of like alleviate my throat right now. Yeah. But yeah. It's been a rough night.
To sleep instantly, but curiously, Luca dodges all of her attacks while in his sleep. He then retaliates with an absurdly
It is very cheesing, huh?
Before waking up to
also, yeah, that is a
sealed. Approaching from the
yeah, Kuro, that is a six-tailed fox centaur. A six-tailed kitsune fox centaur girl. This is the kind of monster girls. That's the kind of monster girls we're into here, baby. I love monster girls. Monster girls, like, at some point, I'm gonna get a full-blown monster girl model. Like a full-blown rat girl model at some point. Just you wait.
The cave, dumbfounded on how her guard was sealed, is Tamamo, another of the 4 Heavenly Knights. Tamamo casually refers to Alice as the Monster Lord, which is so blatant that even Luca finally realizes the truth.
I can't believe I was in love with the Monster Lord.
Though, the kitsune he saved comes back to thank him, and Tamamo offers Luca a reward. The chance to pet her fluffy tail, fried tofu, or Poseidon's Bell.
The fluffy tails are pretty tempting. Don't get me wrong. I mean, she is a 1,000-year-old 9-tailed kitsune, like older than society itself.
The tail was awesome, but causes Alice to call you an idiot and ditch you. Fried tofu is also awesome, but Alice will just eat it, and now you can't cross the sea. The bell was kinda awesome. And
don't be tempted by the tails. You need the bell.
Luca, now with the heavy realization that he was traveling with the Monster Lord all this time, is given a choice: attempt to slay her now, or continue to explore the world and understand it better. Choosing the option that would lead to him not being instantly killed, the duo hop on a ship towards the Centaura continent.
I need to get that gift.
While crossing the sea, Alice teaches Luca his next combat skill, Demon Skull Beheading. This skill is unique, not because of any special ability, but because of the circumstances required to use it.
Oh yeah, this technique is also cool.
To smash the skulls of 300 enemies, it has the wielder fall from a great height to attack the enemy before they can even react. However, there's a flaw. Luca can't fly. Not the Gibby drop.
Oh my god. Oh god. But yeah, this technique, Demon Skull Beheading is a unique move. It's a unique move in your repertoire because you can only use the technique. You can only use Demon Skull Beheading if you are within like vicinity of something you can climb, because the move was originally used by an old harpy queen as like her signature move, where she would drop from the sky and land like skull crushing attacks. But for Luca, he has to like climb, if they're on a ship, he has to climb the mast or climb a nearby tree to get the height for it. And it's very interesting, like a type of level where you have to play with, like a type of technique where you have to play with your surroundings. Ooh, hey there. Hey there, Monrose. I hope you all had a good one. I hope you all had a good stream. Hi there. I guess I'll introduce myself to the Raiders. I am PackRatVT, or Percy Packrat. I'm a rat girl born from the soul hole of a dwarf star. And I like to enjoy and indulge in anything and everything around me. Today, what we're currently doing is we're going through and learning about the entire story of Monster Girl Quest, a game I unfortunately cannot play on YouTube for very specific reasons. Yes, it is Eurogae. It is a Eurogae. But it's one of my favorite games of all time, and I want to yap about it with chat. So we're watching this video by Snowy Snow all about this game. So tune in and learn about this amazing Monster Girl game with me, yeah?
Though, despite being a 2D turn-based RPG, this skill depends on the environment to be used. There must be something tall that Luca can climb nearby, or else
Yeah,
the skill
pretty much
can't
just
be
what I was
used,
saying
even
before.
if he has the necessary SP. Thankfully, the skill is very damaging.
Very fun
and should be used whenever
situational
possible.
move.
Although the bell is working and protecting the ship from the storm, they are not out of danger yet. The creator of the storm itself, Alma Elma of the Four Heavenly Knights, appears. The knight asks Alice permission to execute Luca in the name of self-defense for trying to
Alma
cross her
Elma
storm,
is such
and Alice,
peak
being a
succubus
trusty
design.
companion, replies with, "I don't care." Being of the succubus race, Alma naturally toys with Luca,
Oh,
offering to
yeah.
battle him with the handicap of only.
I think if I ever start streaming on Fansly, Monster Girl Quest will be a game I play on there at some point. If I ever start streaming on Fansly.
Only using her
And
tail.
put it
To
on
win this
maybe
fight, you must
Patreon.
use Demon Skull beheading, after which Luca will climb the mast and slam down at Alma, surprising her with such a fast technique and causing her to catch your blade with her hands. Having broken her handicap, she forfeits. Luca is overjoyed to have driven away
Goodbye.
a Heavenly Knight, even if it was the equivalent of fighting Goku, blindfolded and with no limbs. Upon arrival at Port Natalia, the scene is far different from anything
Oh,
found
God.
on the Ilias continent. Mermaids out on the street, going to school, running businesses, and coexisting. But right before Luca can get acquainted with the town, a bomb explodes at the
Yeah.
nearby mermaid school. Luca quickly identifies the assailant
Yeah.
as Lazarus, leader of the terrorist organization Ilias Cruz.
Yeah, I German for cross and pronounced very differently. I'm so sorry. There is maybe a chance when my 2.0 gets made that I'll have I may do some fancy stuff. Also, yeah, I bet you weren't expecting there to be anti-Monster Girl terrorism in your hentai game. I bet you weren't expecting that.
And close friend of his father Marcellus. Ilias Cruz is an extremist group that strictly follows the teachings of Ilias, meaning they will attack any monster no matter how innocent they may be. Luca explains to Alice that, after failing to kill the previous monster lord, Marcellus and Lazarus opted to fund Ilias Cruz instead. Luca originally swore to fight for coexistence to atone for his father's sins. In an attempt to calm him down, Alice reassures Luca that he need not burden himself with the sins of his father, and that the crimes of a parent do not indict the child. The
That's
duo
going to be a
quickly
very
leave, heading
ironic
to
statement
San Ilia,
later.
whose king is the head of the Ilias faith. This is the first taste of the more serious tones of the story, and it will only get darker as we continue, but
Oh
the
yeah,
payoff is well
it's going to
worth it.
get much darker.
While it is drawing to go from seeing monster girls with huge naturals straight into a terroristic plot, the game does a good enough job of separating the two, frequently making me forget that this
No,
is an
Lazarus,
era
don't
and
do a
massive renaissance
9/11.
happening. Part of the reason why I wanted to make this video is because I didn't want a story like this to be locked away forever behind naked anime girls. So while I won't
Very
completely
valid.
sanitize the story, I hope to make it enjoyable to a larger crowd. Continuing north to San Ilia, the duo head to the castle in order to have an audience with the king, hoping to get some advice at the very least. Despite being met with a huge line, the king personally invites them in as he has had dreams of Ilias foretelling Luca's arrival.
Ilias
King
over
offers
here
Luca a
spreading
grand
more
quest,
BS.
culminating in his receival of the goddess sword, which Alice shatters right in front of him, paralyzing the king on the spot. Running out.
One of my favorite differences about Monster Girl Quest Paradox, it's, I guess, spoilers if you ever decide to play a 300-hour RPG Monster Girl game. But in this game, in the original Monster Girl Quest, he's just like a old religious king. In Monster Girl Quest Paradox, he is just the straight up Pope of the world. And he's also a cyborg, so he is a mecha Pope. And joins your party as like a robot blaster fighter. He is a robotic Pope in the RPG Paradox game.
Out of the castle, Alice gives Luca an actual quest: find the 4 elemental spirits. Before they can leave, they are jumped by Grambaria, who immediately challenges Luca to
Immediately
battle and
jumped by
showcase his skill.
Grambaria.
Luca quickly shows his new skills, and Grambaria lets him go, deeming him
God,
to
I
have
love
potential to be a
Grambaria
worthy
so
opponent in
much.
the future. Grambaria's appearance causes the whole castle to enter a panic, which
Yeah,
Luca uses to
everybody
advantage
goes
to
crazy as soon as
infiltrate the library
Grambaria
and
shows
learn more
up.
about the spirits. Luca obtains the book on spirits, but Alice nearly burns down the library trying to cook food in the process.
It's funny too, because like basically you find the book pertaining to the spirits, and each time you flip to a new page to learn about them, a ghost type monster girl jumps out of the book to attack you. And Alice has like flashbacks to when she commanded them to inhabit the book, and she just and it just slipped her mind, and she forgot about it. And I guess she was trying so hard to distract herself from it. She started trying to cook potatoes in the corner by setting a few books on fire to use as a stove, and she accidentally caught the whole library on fire. And that's how you defeated like the big boss of the arena, is just by waiting out long enough for the fire from Alice's potatoes to spread to the monster and pacify her that way. Oh yeah, just you wait until you meet easily one of my top 5 monster girls in the game, Chrome. She is an adorable like little succubus necromancer, and I love her.
4 spirits: Sylph, Gnome, Undine, and Salamander are ancient entities.
Also, I love Sylph. I love Sylph so much, and her goofy energy.
To be the only thing that is worshipped. Heinrich utilized all 4 spirits in his combat style in order to
cracking open a can of Pepsi.
As they are essentially sentient monsters themselves, the wielder must be incredibly in tune with the spirit in order to use them to their fullest. The first spirit, and the spirit of the wind, Sylph, will be found within the nearby forest of spirits. But first, it's time for Luca to help around town.
More side quest time.
Luca helps deliver a marriage certificate for a mermaid's husband. As
yeah, these are the kind of monster girls we're talking about, people.
Himself. After being mistaken for a hero trying to steal the mysterious blue orb, Luca defeats a kraken with
look at Kraken here, dog.
Sleep and abusing his god powers or whatever. Luca then clears out a haunted mansion, which turned out to be caused by a necromancer girl named Chrome trying to get better at her
I love
craft.
Chrome so much.
After making her promise to stop and release any trapped souls, he leaves, spotting a strange woman in the distance watching him on the way out.
Mysterious redhead. We'll learn about her later.
Alice teaches Luca a new skill: Death Sword Chaos Star. The names just keep getting
I love these edgy ass names.
This only because it's embarrassing still having Flail Wildly in his skill list. As such, Death Sword Chaos Star replaces Flail Wildly, being a
Who caught your eye there, Kuro? But yeah, those are all the Ghost Girls, or like just the Ghost Girls themselves are just like created from coalesced like spiritual energy coalesced and taking form into the form of a sentient monster girl. And then the rest were all zombies that Chrome made. Chrome just being like a necromancer who is trying to hone her craft for certain reasons that we'll learn about later. But Chrome is easily, out of all the Monster Girl characters, easily in my top 5. Between her story in this game and her expanded story and all of the Chrome content we get in Paradox, it is amazing. I love her. Not even just like NSFW stuff. It's like Chrome as a character I love, as just like this little necromancer girl, like this necromancer succubus girl who has like her own ulterior motives for trying to practice her necromancy.
String of 5 strong, fast attacks. This will be Luca's strongest skill for a while, but it costs a massive 4 SP, so it can only be used situationally. Fighting or talking his way through the forest, Luca
little fairy girls
to the words of the wind, but still challenges him anyway.
Sylph is great.
The wind allows her to counter.
I love Sylph.
Slashes. So in defense, you just wait and wait and wait. Sylph can't keep her magic up.
Just gotta let Sylph tire herself out.
An easy one shot. After bawling her eyes out, losing her first ever soul.
I need to get a PNG set of every one of these chibi Sylph images so I can use them as so I can just use them as emotes in my Discord server. I love chibi Sylph so much. Such a vibe. She's such a little dork. It's so funny.
Battle, Sylph agrees to join Luca and becomes incorporated into his body. But before leaving, the duo are attacked by a horrifying plant-human hybrid creature.
This is where you get into like the real horror type stuff. Like even like the ghost girls and stuff aren't all that scary compared to like the chimera creatures here. Like this is where you get into like the real like horror aspects of them.
Despite Alice's Omega Blaze being barely effective, Alice leaves Luca to destroy it with his newfound abilities. Luca is beaten back by the hybrid dryad until Sylph reminds him to activate her. Harnessing the power of the winds, Luca activates Wind Protection, his first elemental technique. Unlike his other skills that deal damage or heal, wind protection is a buff.
Yep.
At
More,
a cost of 2
more,
SP, Luca gains a chance to
more
dodge
things to
enemy
worry
attacks,
about in
negate
battle.
status ailments, and completely avoid telegraphed one-shot attacks for 8 turns. This is very strong. It becomes a mainstay in your strategy from here on out.
Oh yeah.
Dodging attacks and avoiding status effects give you more room to gather SP and dish out damage.
Yeah, that's what I love about as you gather the spirits, you steadily encounter more and more enemies that you have to start thinking tactically and situationally about which spirit you want to activate for this fight. So that way, you have a bit like, because it's like, oh, it's like you could have one where you have better dodging and avoiding telegraph one-shots, or a spirit that lets you break out of bind attacks in 1 turn instead of 3, and it increases your defense. But you gotta pick and choose what you think would be best for that specific encounter.
As you are spending less time making sure you aren't dying. Many battles require you to have self active, so it's wise to either count your turns or just make sure you have 2 SP ready at all times. You really don't want to be caught selfless when the enemy shoots you with a death laser
Oh,
and
yeah.
tries to turn you to stone.
Oh, absolutely.
After using Sylph to defeat the Chimera, the fairies from the Forest of Spirits invade San Ilya to play tricks on the citizens as Sylph is leaving and they are bored.
When I have
The
to play
duo,
tricks
or I
when
guess
I'm
trio
bored.
now, depart for Sabasa in search of Gnome, the Earth Spirit. Traversing the desert, Luca expands his knowledge of the world and asks the same thing we have all asked before. Why are deserts so hot in the day but cold during the night?
That is a good question.
Sabasa, the fake hero Luca, is graciously welcomed by the king because he urgently needs him to rescue
I
his
can't
kidnapped
get over.
princess.
I cannot get over how yoked the king is here, and how much of a like how much of a jarring comparison it is from the king of San Ilya to the king of Sabasa. Like, he is just a jacked dog. He is straight up like goodness.
Oh, and he also wants Luca to marry the princess too. Luca
Yeah, what the
denies,
hell?
but the king keeps insisting, albeit slightly let down. They journey to
Yeah,
the local
he
pyramid where she's
insists
likely to be
throughout the
found,
whole
encountering
game.
A friendly knight named Sarah along the way.
Yeah,
The
a
pyramid
friendly
is used as
knight,
a
huh?
testing ground for the Dragon Seal trial, which is a trial that must be undergone in order for a Sabasa human to marry a dragon, or vice versa. Upon completing the Sphinx's riddle,
Yeah, look at this monster girl. This is like, look at this monster girl. She is a sphinx. She is protruding from literally from the forehead of a sphinx. These are monster girls. Luca, you must continue the Redfield bloodline. But yeah, these are real monster girls. None of that Moemon shit. This is real monster
and
girls.
learning her tragic backstory. Sarah reveals that she is here for the trial because she is in love with Granberria. She became a knight and trained practically all her life in order to meet her expectations.
God, same
She's also a
Sarah.
princess.
Of
Luca
course,
receives
she's
a
also the
yellow orb
princess.
as treasure, and both Luca and Sarah receive a mark from the Sphinx for completing the trial. They all then return to the kingdom, the king still trying to get Luca to marry Sarah.
Yep, not
On the way to
happening.
Gnome's site, the duo find Witch Hunt Village, a village of people that, as you guessed it, are terrified of witches due to many villagers suddenly disappearing. Investigating a mansion, Luca defeats a human who was experimenting on both herself and villagers she kidnapped, turning them into
Tentacle magic.
monsters.
They're
Luca
experimenting
seals her
using
and frees the
tentacle
surviving
magic.
villagers, but the experiments don't go away, so now there are just a bunch of half-tentacle people chilling. However,
Yeah.
as they're leaving, they
It's
once
tentacle ladies now.
red-haired scientists from the distance. Or they're scouring the desert and falling into many traps.
Also, yeah, the one on the left there, as you could tell from the little bits of detail from the tree in the building, she is literally, she is a dune worm. She is literally a monster girl dune worm, the size of like a building. That's a real monster girl. That's a real monster girl right there.
Luca spots Gnome, the spirit of the earth. Gnome challenges Luca and, after a perilous battle, reflects a sand tsunami back at Gnome, using Sylph. Gnome then agrees to join Luca, giving him control of the earth. Gnome joins Sylph in Luca's head, but Gnome is much more timid than the hyperactive Sylph, so she will punch her a lot for being annoying.
When I have to
Gnome's
punch
ability,
Sylph when
Strength
I'm
of the
bored.
Earth, is much like Sylph's, being a 2 SP buff. Rather than speed,
Oh
Gnome
yeah,
focuses
we gonna
on
need a
strength,
big
allowing you
popcorn
to
bucket
break
there.
free of bind attacks much easier. The catch is that Luca isn't able to handle both active at the same time.
Oh yeah,
While
this right here is the
self-stop
fun
better on
balancing
paper,
bit.
as enemies get stronger, choosing between the
And
two
there's a
becomes more of
centaur
game of
girl.
understanding
There's
the
a centaur
opponent
girl
than
you were wondering about.
optimization. Many bind attacks become instant kills unless you have Gnome active, forcing you to swap between Sylph and Gnome depending on the enemy's behaviors. Swapping spirits is very SP intensive, so you either have to use your brain or retry a fight in order to know what to do.
Just dodge,
The good
lol.
rule is that if the enemy has a giant grabby thing, it's probably best to use Gnome.
Yeah.
The next spirit on Luca's quest is Undine, the spirit of water. However, Luca stops by the kingdom of Grand Noah for a different purpose, to see living proof of humans and monsters coexisting. After
Thumbs
a
up.
weird encounter with an Ilias-serving monster and some more training with the spirits, Luca arrives at the kingdom. The queen invites Luca to partake in the Colosseum and restore its honor, as unfortunately all the men there appear to be losing on purpose.
Oh yeah, I wonder why all the men going to the Colosseum, which is also populated by powerful monster girls, are losing on purpose in a Colosseum to monster girls who take their essence when they lose. I wonder why they would be doing that. I wonder why, huh?
For some reason, Luca
Yeah,
battles
for
his
some
way to the
reason.
grand finals, finding his opponent to be Alma. This time around, Alma refuses to give any handicaps, easily overpowering Luca.
Yeah, Alma just shows up
Upon
to
activation of
rock your
Sylph,
shit.
Alma will make fun of him for his poor handling. Luca has been using the wind as a tool rather than playing along with it. With this knowledge, Luca
You gotta
adapts,
frolic
upgrading
with it,
wind
buddy.
protection into
You gotta
playful
frolic.
winds. With this newfound power, Luca is actually able to dodge Alma's attacks, although he still isn't strong enough to hit her. With neither able to hurt the other,
Yeah,
Alma
they're locked in a
surrenders once
stalemate.
again, and Luca is rewarded the green orb for his victory. Now, whenever Luca activates Sylph, his normal attacks will never miss. Helping out the troubles in the region, the duo find themselves in
God, the elf Ronin girl here is also amazing. I love this design.
Yamatai village. Here, the fearsome monster Yamatai no Orochi demands a sacrifice.
Another monster girl that is a real monster girl. The Yamatai no Orochi. Look at that. That is a monster girl. That is an Orochi monster girl.
Each year, which the villagers agree to send the worst of the workers. The sacrifices don't actually die, so the entire workforce has become incredibly lazy.
Yeah, they basically have a tradition now where all the working age men are just like they basically their deal is they're gonna send the worst worker to over to be her sacrifice, because basically for the quote-unquote sacrifice, she basically just uses her sacrificial man as a concubine for a year and then sends them back to the village after a year and then demands a new one. So they decided initially to send their laziest worker, but then everybody started being lazy so that they could be chosen as the sacrifice.
Tamamo makes an appearance and agrees to join Luca in sealing the monster. Tamamo doesn't actually fight, but she teaches Luca how to better use Gnome's power, upgrading Strength of the Earth into Breath of the Earth. Now, whenever Luca activates Sylph, his defense doubles and his critical hit rate is slightly raised. This is a really good upgrade and makes Gnome much better than Sylph, although you'll still need Sylph in order to dodge certain attacks.
Oh yeah,
Over
Gnome
at
is
Plantech
super
Village,
good here.
Luca intervenes on some plants being attacked by insects.
Oh
and
boy.
Luca finds himself in the center of a sort of civil war.
The plant
During
insect
Luca agrees to
civil war.
overthrow the queen bee ruling over the insects. However, despite stealing
I have not heard of the anime Darasan. I will look into that. Thank you, Kuro.
the queen bee, the plants continue to attack the insects, causing Luca to turn his sword on them and their priestess as well. After a bunch of fights, he seals away both sides completely, spiraling him into a bit of a depression, as politics tends to do.
Yeah, this part was a little dark, not gonna lie, because it was just like Luca's entire ideal was being challenged. Like the idea of coexistence between man and monster being challenged because of a civil war between two warring tribes of monsters, completely leaving him disillusioned to his image of like coexistence.
But more peaceful plants and insects emerge from hiding, glad that the war is over and just wanting peace. This makes Luca feel a little bit better, but he still questions why everyone acts this way. Finally arriving at Undine's
Because politics are
Luca finds
messy.
the environment to be much different than the other spirits. Before entering a cave, a voice rings in his head warning him not to enter. The stubborn Luca enters anyway and fights through before encountering the
fighting
terrifying
all of the
Arabetti,
slime
the fourth
girls.
Heavenly Knight. While Granberria, Tamamo, and Alma played around with Luca, Arabetti is out for the kill, swarming Luca with devastating attacks.
Yeah.
Arabetti hates humans
Arabetti
as their
is...
pollution has cornered the habitat
She
of
don't hold
slimes
back.
and caused their population to dwindle. Before she can kill him, though...
You know, the saddest thing about it, though, is that, like, Arabetti is, like, whenever you first encounter her, she is out for the kill against you. Because, you know, as was just stated, slime habitats are dwindling and her people are endangered because of pollution. But she used to be like a carefree girl. Like there's like a carefree slime girl who only fought with violence when necessary. But now she's like full on like murder mode because of like how much damage has been done to her people. And it's just sad seeing how much this has changed her.
Undine calls out, wanting to speak to Luca due to his bond with the other two spirits. Arabetti agrees, leaving the two alone. Undine agrees to join Luca if he is able to control both self and gnome at the same time, which he's able to do due to being in such a high-pressure situation.
Yeah, high-pressure situation of being put under pressure by Arabetti.
Activate Water Wall. Much like Self and Gnome, activating Undine costs 2 SP, but cannot be used with Self or Gnome at the same time, as Luca just met her. Water Wall grants Luca a 20% damage reduction. That's it.
Yeah.
Right
Water
now,
Wall,
worthless and
yeah, Water Wall is
unfortunately.
pretty worthless right
The final
now.
spirit is in the Gold Volcano, but first the duo stop at Grand Gold Kingdom, where they are graciously welcomed. Or not. They are immediately arrested.
Immediately put in
until
jail.
the soldiers message his hometown and confirm his birth and family. Annoyed but happy to leave, the duo explore the city, discovering it to be highly technologically advanced. Ant girls and automatons do all of the work, while all the humans just laze around. After gathering information about the region's troubles, an explosion is heard, and all of the ant girls and automatons suddenly go rogue.
Yep.
Luca fights through the city and into the castle, where they discover the Queen Ant has been unsealed.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of crazy plots in this game.
Technology was given to her by a mysterious scientist testing sealing technology in hopes of eventually being able to seal the Monster Lord.
Oh, totally not suspicious. Now, this bit here was a little incorrect because they didn't give this power to the Ant Queen, mind you. The sealing technology was given to the humans of Grand Gold to seal the Ant Queen and to test the machine out. So that way they could manipulate the Ant Queen's control signal in order to control the ant girls and the automatons and basically use them as like the manual labor force in Grand Gold. Very messy stuff for the city. Very messy like political situation of enslaving a species of monster girls like that. But then the Ant Queen breaks free and it has a very touchy kind of this very touchy subject here with like, because it's like, do you feel right fighting against a queen who was being held captive by these people? And it's like, eventually, like, you're able to form a truce and a truce between them, and the Ant Queen and the King of Grand Gold began ruling the city, like, together and forming a bond. But it still messes up Luca pretty bad.
The King of the region appears, promptly apologizes, and the King and Queen agree to stop fighting.
Yeah.
This kingdom has been nothing but trouble, so the duo quickly depart.
Yeah, Luca just dips.
A group of succubi's plan to take over a town and revive a powerful succubus sealed 500 years ago, who interestingly recognizes Luca's
yeah, just gotta censor them entirely,
they
huh?
agreed to a peaceful takeover for some reason.
Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why the men of the village would agree to let the succubus take over the village and take full control over their over things. I wonder why. I wonder why.
He then goes on to actually rescue Lady's village, a village with mysteriously no men. He begins to understand what is going on.
Another suspicious mansion.
Working his way into fighting the mayor, she shockingly eats her own daughter, claiming survival of the fittest. Luca can barely hold on during the fight, and shockingly,
you just gotta cover everything.
For the first time. The mayor comments on how it appears both Alice and her mother are the same in wishing for coexistence. Alice then hypnotizes her, forcing her to digest herself, and a rare case of the duo actually killing something and not.
Yeah, very rarely do you actually kill opponents in this game, because Luca's whole thing is that he's like, he fights for coexistence, but really deep down, he's kind of a pacifist. So he doesn't really want to fight like that if he doesn't have to. But like, this time, Alice just steps in and just straight up kills them. Like, straight up kills the enemies because of the level of threat that they pose.
Sealing them. Since the leader is dead, the villagers abandon it, leaving it deserted. At this point, the moral dilemmas are really starting to pile up on Luca.
Yeah,
and
Luca
greatly
is not
affecting
doing
his
great.
mental health. Every step he takes towards his dream is often followed by a setback as he learns more about the world. Still, the effect he's having on the world is apparent. Both his efforts and the efforts of the people to accept change are the very things that will end up saving the world. The mysteries are adding up, and Alice is still refusing to reveal her secrets, but all will be revealed soon.
Yeah, Alice is playing things a little too close to the
Luca
chest.
must collect the last spirit. Right before entering Gold Volcano, Alice once again decides to train Luca, annoyed that he sucks at using Undine. Luca closes his eyes while Alice slaps him, attempting to align with the waves and dodge while blind. After a few tries, he is unsuccessful.
Yeah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
They give up and continue anyway. Luca sieges the volcano, defeating all the monsters, but
God damn, the basilisk girl.
Unable to pierce her scales and suffering heavy blows, Luca holds still, channels Undine.
That's a real monster girl right there.
Mind. Although dropping it at the last second and nearly dying in the process. Finally, Luca finds Salamander, the last
Luca is just one bad day away from being Eren Yeager. Absolutely.
The spirit of fire. Delph is playful, Gnome is shy, Undine is calm, and Salamander is prideful. This pride certainly rubbed off on Granberria, who was her student. Luca and
it's not even just her student either. Like, Salamander raised Granberria from like childhood. She's basically her mother, essentially. Like, Salamander is basically Granberria's mother with how she raised her and trained her to be the greatest swordsman in the world.
Salamander immediately begins sparring, and Luca is able to develop Serene Mind into a usable state. Salamander joins Luca, greeting the now reunited spirits, and unlocks a new spirit skill for Luca, Blade of Flame. This skill drives the fighting spirit of Luca to its maximum, increasing his attack power by a slight amount. But burning
you like Salamander, do you, Kuro?
Focus and heal. Much like Undine's initial spirit power, this is useless in its current state.
Yeah.
It is a good hint at its future power, though, and I'll even give you a hint. Luca will be able to hold on. Coming with a steel chair is Granberria. He attacks Luca on sight and unleashes
the surprise attack of Granberria at this point is always the funniest thing.
But it isn't enough to stop the assault, and Luca is knocked down. Granberria almost kills Luca before he can become too powerful, but Alice convinces her that he could also become the very opponent that she has always dreamed of facing. This gets her excited, and she leaves, leaving Luca on the ground. While unconscious,
Luca's just getting
experiences
whomped.
a sort of dream or flashback involving Alice's mother and a group of adventurers before waking up.
Cook some steak on them things,
which is attributed to the mastery of Undine.
That's, that could totally happen.
Alice teaches him to use Serene Mind offensively, and Water Wall is upgraded into the
What the hell, Luca? That hurt.
By trusting himself to the world itself, Luca enters a state of calmness and is able to dodge nearly every attack in the game.
I love how every example monster here
causes you to lose 1 SP
just the
turn,
slime girl.
Gaining SP on attack. To cancel Serene Mind, you can unleash a new skill, Serene Demon Sword, which deals devastating damage and ending the Serene Mind state. I
love the art on these cut-ins, dude.
Battles very quickly, but leaves you vulnerable, exiting the state filthless, gnomeless, and missing SP. The duo travel to Goldport, where they must find a way to travel across the ocean and to Helgondo, the northernmost continent and location of the Monster Lord's castle. Remember those mysterious orbs we gathered along the way? This is where they come in handy. Collecting all 6 orbs will allow Luca to hatch the legendary Garuda Girl and use her power to fly across the ocean. Currently, Luca only has 3 of the 6 scattered around the world, but
time to go back and get more fetch questing.
We already know that the blue orb was being held with the Kraken at the Port Natalia Sea Temple, so that makes for an easy journey back. The Kraken apologizes
going back to all the way back to the blue orb, all the way back to the opposite end of the continent.
Also at a sea temple, just the north one instead. But you haven't been there and met the Poseidoness guarding it, so get ready for another
real monster girl
After being
right there.
Beef and an intense battle,
Friggin' Poseidoness.
Poseidon S hands him the orb for being a worthy warrior and tells him that she knew he was coming all along because the Kraken girl told her. They just wanted to test him. For funsies. Finally, the
For
purple orb
giggles.
is also in the sea, but this time as a long-lost sunken treasure. You join a pirate named Selena in finding her grandmother's famous pirate ship, which is now a ghost ship, much to Alice's horror.
I believe in
informs
you,
her that
she
the
says
purple
as she
orb is
dips.
contained within a box, along with a very powerful sealed monster. Or rather was contained, as the seal is now undone and the monster is free. Good luck. Entering the fray are 3 extremely powerful monsters collectively named Beelzebub.
Yep, the
Originally
Beelzebub
sealed by the
trio,
first
the
monster,
Fly
while the 3
Queens.
surviving monsters of the Beelzebub hive mind wish to swarm the world with their insects. Luca can't handle 3 calamitous monsters on his own, so after defeating one of them, Alice joins the battle once again. The disaster avoided and the treasure found, Selena...
The other only example of when you actively kill monsters. I find it funny in Paradox. In Paradox, you follow largely the same story beats, but with like a bit of awareness of them too, because Paradox's story is, it's a multiverse story essentially, but like one of my favorite things about the Beelzebub encounter in Paradox is that after you defeat them, instead of Alice getting the chance to kill them, because at this point Alice is much weaker because of circumstances in the game, they just dip and they run away and they try to go to various villages. But because of events in the game that are different from the main timeline, they see that humans and monsters are living peacefully in coexistence. And they're like, hold up, why aren't they scared of us? It's like, oh, wait, why is the world ending? What is this? This place is scary. Let's just go get some like Kibidongo or something and just chill out and just kind of vibe. And it's just funny to me how like you can just go find them and recruit them to your party, like into your party of monsters, because it's just like, yeah, this world is a lot scarier than I remember it being. We're just going to stick with you because at least that we're familiar with that. It's funny.
Reveals herself to actually just be her grandmother's ghost. All 6 orbs collected,
Yeah.
Luca is ready to
Alice
fly
didn't
to
take that
Helgoland,
one well, by the
but
way,
he has one last
revealing that they
mission
were
on his
traveling for a
plate.
ghost.
Sarah has been kidnapped again, but actually for real this time. The fairies of Fairies Island are holding her hostage as
God, though, freaking Elf Queen and Fairy Queen are such bad bitches, though. Like, look at them. Oh my god. Holy hell.
leverage for their plan to retake Tsubasa Kingdom, as they ruled the territory in the past and won it back. They are going to turn Sarah into a monster and force her to turn all of the Tsubasa nobles into monsters as well. Luca fails to reason with them as he usually does, so turns to sealing them away instead. He wins, but it's too late to save Sarah, who is now losing control and attacking. He manages to only partially seal her, bringing her back to safety, until the Elf Queen ambushes her and takes her hostage again.
As you would. And technically, they didn't really transform her into a monster, because you learn earlier in the plot that the Tsubasan royal family already have monster blood inside of them. It's because of the fact that the first king of Tsubasa was married to the Sphinx, and their children are descendant of the Sphinx. And so, all she really did was awaken the monster blood inside of Sarah, which turned her into a half succubus.
Before Luca can begin round 2, here comes Granbaria with another steel chair. The Elf Queen actually listens to Granbaria.
Granbaria with the steel chair over and over again.
Random guy. Granbaria assures the Elf Queen that the Monster Lord is doing her best, okay? And she will figure out a solution.
She's
for them
doing
soon.
her
So
best.
just coexist
She
for
says
now.
as she travels
The Elf Queen
around
agrees to look
eating.
forward to that solution, and thus ends the conflict. Granbaria teleports away, but not before Sarah jumps in with the love of her life. So much for returning her to the kingdom.
Yeah,
but
Sarah
the
just
king
had
doesn't
to.
actually mind.
Sarah just
He
had to get
knows
in there with
Sarah loves
Granbaria.
Granbaria and knows they won't hurt each other, so he just gives up on having her rule the next generation and lets her do as she pleases. Thanks, King. With the lesbian situationship out of the way, it's time to fly. The duo arrive
King
at
of
the Holy
Tsubasa
Wind
said
Shrine,
gay
place the
pride.
orbs and the egg
I
reveal.
love lesbians.
Damn it. They scour the area and find a member of Ilia's crews. Wonderful. Luca fucking grabs him and makes him spit out the truth. Turns out the egg was taken to
It's honestly kind of jarring seeing how quick Luca is like ready to just immediately jump to violence whenever he sees a member of Ilias' crews, because he basically sees it as like his dad's mistake.
To their headquarters so they could figure out a way to break through the shell and kill the monster within. Luca, still furious, rolls into the base, shouting that he's the son of Marcellus. Everyone is too shocked to really stop him, and Luca rushes to Lazarus. Lazarus is seen with the egg, taunting Luca for being so similar to his father and eager for revenge. Lazarus and Marcellus were genuinely part of the same adventure group that killed the previous Monster Lord.
Yeah.
The truth lies in their failures. While they succeeded in killing Alice's mother, the then young Alice rushed out shortly after, shocking the party and killing a bunch of their members before they were able to retreat. Both Marcellus and Lazarus fell in love with one of the members that were slain, so they formed Ilias Cruz out of a mix of hatred and revenge.
Yeah, technically it was only a party of 4. It was only a party of 4 that they were, but Marcellus was the leader of the party, and they had Lazarus the knight, Merlin the wizard, and Karen the white mage. And Karen and Merlin were killed by Alice after she witnessed her mom being killed by Marcellus, Luca's dad. So Luca's dad killed Alice's mom. So drama right there.
As time passed, though, Marcellus's anger subsided, and he found himself actually helping monsters. Lazarus's anger did not subside, and seeing Marcellus soften only made him angrier. In a final argument, Lazarus charged Marcellus with an easily avoidable attack, only to realize in shock that it actually landed. In his blind rage, Lazarus forgot that the attack on the Monster Lord left Marcellus blind in the left eye.
So, little correction to this bit here. Having played the game recently myself, because I like to play it sometimes just when I'm bored, but having played this recently myself, it's not that Lazarus forgot that that Marcellus was blind in one eye after their battle with the Monster Lord. It's that Marcellus was hiding the fact that he was blind in one eye the entire time. So Lazarus didn't even know that he was blind in one eye and didn't realize that he was in Marcellus's blind spot when he threw that attack at him. Which makes it all the more tragic because he knew what kind of hero Marcellus was, how powerful he was, and how easily he could have dodged that attack. But he didn't know that he was blind on that side of his body. So he didn't know that he didn't have the vision or the sight to avoid the attack. So he attacked them fully expecting to be dodged or blocked, but because he was blind in that eye, the attack landed and he killed him.
So he never even saw the attack coming. Overridden with the madness of watching his loved one die and killing his best friend with his own hands, he blames the death of Marcellus on monsters
it's fucked up.
and further drive hatred between the two groups. Lazarus continues to rant like a madman and taunt Luca, saying that a hero like him could never understand the common person. Coexistence is impossible when the other side has so much power. Alice enters the room and Lazarus instantly recognizes her. Now screaming at both Luca and Alice, Luca pulls out his iron sword, not the angel halo. Lazarus, happy to become a martyr, encourages Luca to stab him. You can choose to stab him or not, either way Alice will petrify him, denying Lazarus of his wishes.
Yeah, like this is the moment, like this right here is the moment we saw Luca break in the game. Because it's like having everything that he believes in thrown in his face. Luca dropped his sword that was used as a sealing instrument. It does no real physical damage. It only seals things away. But he drops that and pulls out his iron sword instead because he's ready to draw blood. He's ready to drop his pacifistic ideals and ready to kill this guy. And with that, that's how far he has been driven at this point.
Luca and Alice retreat to a nearby mountain to process everything. Alice tries to help Luca by reassuring him that he is standing up for the persecuted, but Alice starts to break down herself. Alice is scared that she only aims for coexistence to atone for her ruining of her mother's plan, much like how Luca originally aimed for coexistence to atone for his father's sins. Back when Marcellus and Lazarus were killing Alice's mother, she had planned to get killed all along and let them win no matter how strong they were. She had hoped that after slaying the Monster Lord that was supposedly controlling the armies of monsters, humans and monsters could then just put aside their differences and coexist. Alice was simply too young to understand the situation, and when she left her room and saw her mother's corpse, she massacred the party. The two
Yeah,
ponder
this
for a
is...
while and come to the conclusion that they had their motivations twisted.
Yeah, see, like, this is... You don't expect this kind of, like, generational tragedy in a Euroge of all things. Like, the fact that Luca, like, believes that he only became a hero to make up for what his father did after he started an anti-monster terrorist group. And Alice believed that she was only carrying on because she messed up her mom's plan to become a martyr for the sake of human-monster coexistence. So now they're trying to make up for their own parents' sins.
Rather than atone for their parents' existence, they will instead inherit their wills. Feeling much better about their determination, the duo
It's
turn
sad.
back to awaken the Garuda
Yeah.
girl.
Also, I love the Garuda
Garuda
girl. I love the Garuda girl.
Luca is attacked
Giant
by a wyvern
bird
guarding the
girl.
monster continent.
I love her.
Salamander takes advantage of Luca's renewed fighting spirit to advance his mastery of the spirit, upgrading Blade of Flame into Hellfire Blade. While you still can't heal when Salamander is activated, the attack power buff is dramatically increased, and your SP is restored to full.
Also, another
use.
peak monster
It
girl
is
here, by the
essentially a
way.
Hail Mary to finish off the enemy with destructive power. Remember the slaughter of Remina that that was massacred? Well, the duo practically land right next to it,
absolutely,
Luca
Kuro.
decides to investigate it.
Eurogames with plot are peak.
Luca digs through remains of both humans and monsters until he is attacked by a disgusting chimera. Then
more chimera. Oh yeah, a whole legion of chimera.
An arduous battle against a stronger chimera dryad. He spots that damn scientist again and questions if she is a survivor or perhaps the instigator. Luca reunites with Alice after she got done killing many chimeras.
Yeah, she murked a bunch of them.
Figuring the answers must lie elsewhere. The two nearly pass by the sealed
just a mysterious angel feather.
They arrive and Sylph comments saying that it smells like her former master. Interesting. Luca walks up to the monument and finds it to be of the hero Heinrich Heine. Legends say that Heinrich was brought to heaven by Ilias, so he wonders why he would be down here. The angel halo shines
I do
brightly,
wonder
further
why he would be
confusing
sealed down here.
They leave, figuring the answers must lie elsewhere. Despite everyone's confusion about the situation, the only place left to go is the finale, the Monster Lord's castle. During his final camp with Alice, she teaches him a new...
the H scenes in this game are... There are some H scenes that happen, like, as a part of the story, mostly between Luca and Alice, and also the Four Spirits. But most of the H scenes are H scenes on Lost, basically.
New skill, Quadruple Giga. Unlike the others, this skill has a happy origin, that of Heinrich. This is Luca's new ultimate attack, capable of defeating even a Monster Lord. Pouring all four spirits into your sword at once, barely holding them together, you can one-shot nearly every enemy in the game at a cost of only 1 SP. The catch is that it takes 4 turns to summon all the spirits, and if you were hit at all during it, the move is cancelled. As such, it can only be used during key moments.
Yeah, it can only be used during scripted moments, unfortunately.
Having done all she can do to prepare Luca, she leaves him and prepares to fulfill his hero's duty, no matter how painful it will be. Luca assaults the castle, defeating many of the 4 Heavenly Knights' strongest soldiers. He runs into trouble with the castle's automatic defense monster, unable to deal enough damage to break past its automatic healing. Salamander steps in as Luca's new teacher and guides him on using Big Rising ability.
I love the gratuitous use of the goofy dog.
Star as a direct upgrade, and gets further boosted if Salamander is summoned at the same time.
Thank you for the follow, Itamaria. Welcome to the HQ. Like, Itmadami. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're watching Peak right now.
Death Sword Chaos Star was already an amazing ability, so this is a welcome change, even if I never used Salamander all that much. His penultimate battle is with his familiar friends, the 4 Heavenly Knights. Against Alma, Sylph lets her power of the wind loose, and Luca manages to keep up, becoming one with the winds.
This was honest. This was such a great point of the game. The back-to-back-to-back-to-back fight against the 4 Heavenly Knights,
allowing Gnome's power to embody him entirely. Breath of the Earth is turned into Wild Lands, upping Luca's critical hit chance to 100%. He breaks through Tomomo's tail and shatters her last defense.
Yeah, he
Against
literally
Arabetti,
rips one of his
Salamander
tails
reminds
off.
him of why he's fighting her, which is to cleanse her of hatred. His pure-hearted determination grows, and Hellfire Blade is turned into Purgatory Flame. Salamander is now compatible with the other spirits, and Luca can still heal during it. Luca wields his Scorching Blade for what he believes in,
Coexistence
submitting
fire.
Arabetti. Finally, against Granberria, the flames of determination clash, and Luca forces his heart and soul into his goal. Serene Mind is now compatible with the other spirits.
Serene Demon Sword even
is
more
not in the
complete.
spirit state. Luca's conviction cleans his mind and time slows, allowing him to fight on equal terms with the Flaming Dragon. Granberria draws Luca to a stalemate and asks to see his ultimate technique. Granberria watches happily as Luca combines the 4 spirits into his sword and is unable to block the attack, sending her flying.
Yeah.
One after another, the
She just
Heavenly Knights are
eats that
defeated and
that
all pledge
attack.
to coexistence. Nearly attaining his ultimate goal, Luca has one last target. Alice calls over to Luca, pretending.
Also, gotta just another point of this. The music of this game is so fantastic. Like all this battle music you've been hearing is phenomenal for this game. It's like this is an H game that has this kind of music.
As if they have never met. Luca realizes she is going to sacrifice herself for peace like her mother once did, but still fights her nonetheless. Bringing her to her last legs, Alice orders him to kill her. But Luca can't do it. Luca wants to save lives, not end them. Killing her is against the ideals that got him to this point in the first place. Even if he did, peace would not come. Monsters
Here
would
is
just
the
end up
turning
being
point
mass
here for the
slaughtered and
game.
oppressed, like what happened in Plain
The
Sect
big
Village.
twist.
Alice cries out, not wanting her mother to have died in vain, but Luca rebukes by stating her method of peace was flawed. If a baby Alice can shatter her peace, then it was never peace at all. Luca would rather the two of them travel the world together. Once true, everlasting peace is found. At that very moment, a disappointed Ilias descends. She accuses Luca of having been seduced by darkness and that he will never be a hero. Luca, at first, tries to appeal with the goddess, asking if monsters are truly evil, and Ilias responds by saying they are fated to fight. Monsters are corrupt to the very soul. Luca will never be a hero.
Wicked and
because only she can
crazy
determine what a
goddess.
hero is. Luca has had enough and mocks Ilias for being the embodiment of everything he has been fighting. Ilias smites Luca, but he dodges with Serene State. Wow, that's cool. Ilias, angered, announces that the castle will become a second Remina and promptly disappears. Angels descend from heaven and pour into the castle. Joining
Yeah,
them is
we've
Promisine,
officially gone
revealing
from-
herself to be the creator of the chimeras.
Yeah.
Arriving with her are the next stalls, artificial beings specifically designed with powers that directly counter the Heavenly Knights.
Yeah, so that mysterious redhead we've been fighting this whole time, yeah, she's an angel, and she's been basically studying all of the Heavenly Knights to create mechanized super soldiers specifically to kill them. Yeah. Yeah, we've gone from fighting monsters to fighting God.
They easily beat the already weak Granberria and Alma. Luca goes to fight Promisine directly, but she dodges an attack using Zilf, an artificial silk. Promisine created and mass-produced the spirits for use in the army. Alice and Luca join together once again and charge ahead. Up in heaven, Ilias discusses her new plan. Ilias is upset that there are humans losing faith in her as coexistence rises, and as such, she wants to start anew and create a new generation
Pretty
of
much,
humans.
yeah, pretty
There's a
much.
fatal
Fight
flaw,
God,
though.
pretty
Ilias
much.
cannot control dark magic. She needs monsters to keep the world in motion, and as such keeps Promisine and a few monsters around to keep dark magic in check. Despite the angels annihilating the monster forces, Luca is the sole person able to keep them at bay. Normally,
God,
mortals
the
cannot
angel
harm
boss,
angels.
the angel
Angels
fight
are
music
immune
is
to
great.
everything
This music
except
right
pure
here,
holy or
I
dark
love it.
energy. However,
It's
Luca
like you
wields
do not
the
expect this
angel
kind of
halo,
epic
a
music
sword
in a
created by the
Euro
fallen
game.
angel Lucifina from angels to fight angels. Luca challenges Promisine again, but it's too late. Her plan has already begun. Luca's power leaves his body, and Alice becomes the target of the Six Ancestors' Great Seal.
Yeah, this is the
This
big.
is a replicated
Yeah, this
version
is
of
the
the
big
most
turning
powerful
point of
seal
the
in
game.
world, originally used to seal the first Monster Lord. The seal on Luca is a seal on the entire world, disrupting the flow of nature's elements entirely. A scared Luca is asked to surrender, but Tomomo bursts through and scares away the chimeras with her orb.
Tomomo coming
Promisine
in.
decides to leave,
Tomomo
having already
just
achieved her
bursting
goal of
through the
sealing
wall,
two most
riding on the
violent
back of the
forces.
Omega
Luca
weapon.
chases after her, following her all the way back to Remina. A strange girl points Luca towards a secret lab.
Oh, yeah, I wonder
filled
who
with
this
extremely
mysterious
advanced
girl
technology and hideous
with
chimeras. It
evil
seems someone
aura
had
is.
infiltrated the lab though, and Luca discovers Promisine attacking a mini Alice. A long time ago, Tomomo discovered a loophole to the seal. Since the seal is proportionate to the bearer's strength, if one created a weaker vessel and put a fraction of their power into it, that vessel will be able to escape.
Go, my
undetected by the
child.
seal. Both Luca and Alice are heavily weakened and going to lose, but right before Luca dies, he manages to activate Serene State all on his own. He defeats Promisine before the state ends, but are unable to get any information out of her. Promisine is about to inject herself with a weird, dark drug, but that strange girl reappears and introduces herself as Black Alice, the 8th Monster Lord. Black Alice rescues Promisine
and now you see why I find it funny too how out of all the characters, like the fact that she is literally just Alice from Alice in Wonderland, but like hiding like a giant tentacle monster underneath her dress. And she's like the most sadistic monster in history. It's always been funny to me that like that form there specifically is like a disguised form. She hides her true self as like that, you know, of this like literally Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Teleports away. Searching through the lab, the duo find a lot of data, but are unable to decipher any of it. That's when Tamamo crashes through the roof once again and informs the duo that the angels are attacking the whole world.
It's also at this point too that like they start finding data discs, like straight up CDs that Promistine has been like storing all of her data on. And instead of just using a computer in the rooms to read them, no, Tamamo and her Kitsune specialize in using mythical energy to read data by just shoving the CDs entirely into their mouths and just reading the data off the discs like that. They're just doing straight up Ed, Edd and Eddy shit with these CDs in their mouths and just like absorbing the data off of them.
Including Luca's hometown. The duo immediately depart on Golda to try and save what they can. Rushing to his hometown, he is horrified to see that the entire village is burned to the ground. Yeah,
Luca's entire village is annihilated.
And the enraged Luca loses all control, causing his keepsake ring to shatter, transforming Luca into his original half-angel form. Luca gains access to
the reveal. Luca's a half-angel.
Similar to the spirits that grants access to 4 skills. Flash Kill. Cutting through time, space, and reason. Replacing Thunder Thrust, this skill is simply great. Its cheap cost allows it to be used safely and does a sizable chunk of damage. Heavenly Demon Revival. All life returns to the nature from whence it came. This is a nice middle ground attack for finishing off enemies.
God, this reveal was so great.
Rakshasa, the jaws of the Rakshasa.
This reveal was amazing when I played the game for the first time.
9 attacks, dealing insane damage if you were able to afford the cost. The name Rakshasa is in reference to the mythological humanoid or unrighteous spirit. Day Star. My mother is the star of morning, the child of dawn. The star thrown to the earth shall obtain victory. My absolute favorite ability. This is a counter, meaning it only activates when Luca is being hit. But it negates all damage from an attack and in turn
smart use of Daystar is ideal for any fight.
Effective against monsters, they are devastating against angels. This form is the embodiment of Luca's journey, encapsulating his literal and metaphorical transformation up until this point. Throughout the story, Luca began to question his beliefs, both that of his religion and of his own ideals. After inheriting the will of his father and witnessing for himself the truth of Ilias, he's finally ready to accept himself and rely on himself. Despite being half angel, he embraces the monster side of humanity as a part of humanity itself. Using his newfound powers to defeat the invading angel, Luca puts his ring back together and looks around, depressed. However, there's still some hope. Alice notices that the amount of corpses is much less than the amount of villagers from when they first departed.
You know, that's ideal.
That maybe they were
that's
teleported
certainly
to
a good thing.
The duo rush there and ward off the invading angels, when Michaela makes another appearance and causes the invaders to retreat. Michaela, one of the original betrayers of Ilias, explains everything. From the dawn of time, there was light energy and dark energy.
Now we're getting the real origins here.
Grew lonely and created angels as offshoots of herself, each containing pieces of her. Still unsatisfied, she found a planet she liked and modified its life until they became humans. Alice the First, manifestation of dark energy, arrived at the same planet and created monsters to populate it as well. Alice the First was better at creating monsters than Ilias was at cultivating humans, and Ilias grew jealous of her power over the world they created. About 1,000 years ago,
they're
Ilias
literally
waged war on
twin
Alice the
entities.
First and her monsters.
And
Michaela and Musafina
she's
were two
jealous.
warriors against the Monster Lord's 6
She was jealous that the Monster
Because
Lord
the
was
monsters
better
were
at
clearly
her
winning,
creating life.
Ilias decided to take the world itself hostage. If the war continued, the world itself would be destroyed from the sheer scale of the battles. Alice the First did not want her creations to be destroyed and offered to seal herself in the 6 ancestors in exchange for Ilias promising to not harm her monsters. If enough monsters died,
Oh, I'm sure
dark
that'll
energy would accumulate
hold.
in the
Yeah, I'm
atmosphere
sure
and
that'll
break
hold.
the seal. Tamamo is actually one of the 6 ancestors, and she is currently using the loophole she found in order to act as a watcher outside of the barrier. After the war, Lucifina and Michaela grew wary of Ilias' descent into madness, becoming fallen angels themselves. Michaela created Enrica as a safe haven for monsters and fallen angels. Lucifina, commonly nicknamed Daystar, created the Angel Halo and gave it to Heinrich. However, the 8th Monster Lord Black Alice was rescued by Ilias. Heinrich died of recklessness overusing his Angel Sword's powers. Lucifina went on.
Well, that was, he didn't just die of recklessness. It was because after his battle with Black Alice, Heinrich went to war with heaven and overused the sword by slaying countless angels and became known as the Angel Slayer. So, yeah. Heinrich was pretty badass, needless to say.
To wander the world, later falling in love with Marcellus, a descendant of Heinrich. She created the keepsake ring as a way to live as a mortal, giving birth to Luca and entrusting the ring to him after her death from a plague ravaging his hometown.
So yeah, Luca's dad, Marcellus, is a descendant of Heinrich Heine, the legendary hero, and his mom is Lucifina, the fallen angel. So literally, he is the son of a legendary hero and the devil. He is the descendant of the legendary hero and also the devil. So, yeah, he's getting that shonen anime pro tag swag on him.
She believed in Luca, did not blame his father for his actions, nor the townspeople for failing to save her. Luca takes a well-deserved rest while Tamamo teaches Alice a new spell, Word of Dispel. This spell will allow Alice to return to her original form for 3 seconds, just enough time for one action.
Yeah,
Alice
for 3
entrusts Luca to the
seconds.
decision-making, allowing you to choose a spell once per combat. Omega Blaze, Frost Ozma, Monster Lord's Cruelty, or Eye of Recovery.
You'll
Though
be
Monster
using
Lord's Cruelty is the strongest by base power. The other 2 attacks have higher potential damage when
you'll
used
probably
against
be
enemies weak to
using
them,
Eye of
such as
Recovery the
Omega
most,
Blaze
though.
against mermaids or Frost Ozma
Yeah, it's
against
just a
the
free
cold-blooded
heal.
Lamians. There isn't actually much of a weakness system in this game, nor is it explained at all. It's just used as a secret mechanic for people using their brains or given as advice after you lose. Eye of Recovery heals Luca to full HP and is probably the one you will use most as
Yeah,
Alice
I get
cannot
ducked
hurt
now, but
angels.
Eye of Recovery, you're never
Luca,
gonna keep
now
me
well
down.
rested, departs with Alice on his conquest against the angels. The duo travel upward, arriving back at Iliasburg, dispatching the angel commander with help from the townspeople and 3 of the 4 bandits. Luca defends Happiness Village, all while getting hit on by the Queen Harpy. Luca rescues the now depressed king of San Ilias and convinces him to abandon the faith of Ilias herself, but keep the parts about being a good
Yeah, you
person.
gotta convince
Luca,
the Pope
king,
to
and the
abandon
fairies
his
take the city
religion.
back, convincing the townspeople that they aren't meant to be martyrs. Back in Centaura, Luca arrives in Port Natalia, only to find it under siege by the Queen Mermaid herself. In the middle of their battle, a warehouse collapses nearby and fatally injures a kid. The Queen isn't willing to heal him,
It
but her
never
daughter
ceases to
is,
get me.
causing the Queen to retreat all her forces. She doesn't forgive humanity, but Luca is glad that she's at least willing to leave the decision up to the next generation. Passing by the haunted mansion, Luca fights Chrome once again. She isn't on Ilias' side, but was given technology by promising to advance her necromancy
she's
skills.
just kind of
She
doing her own
researches
thing.
Spirits, not necromancy, so she technically isn't breaking her promise.
Yeah,
Luca
technically.
still needs to stop her anyway. Interrupting the 2 is Lacrosse, Chrome's older sister and one of Promisene's seekers of truth. Lacrosse insults Chrome's skill by showcasing her own work. Fernandez, original creator of Thunder Thrust, Queen Scylla of the Tentacle Monsters, Queen Lamia of the Snake Monsters, Mermaid Pirate Queen Rosa, a legendary pirate, Titania, a mutated fairy, the previous Queen Harpy, and last but not least, Alice the 15th, Alice's mother.
Yeah.
Feeling a mix of anger, shock, and horror, the duo and Chrome escape from the mansion, deciding
Yeah, imagine fighting against fighting against a little necromancer to treat her, give her a lesson. Her older sister shows up and has a bunch of zombie puppets, one of which is your companion's mom that your dad killed. Imagine that.
To become allies again. Chrome thinks that Lacrosse's insanity is due to a failed experiment they partook in together, so it's her duty to put her down. The duo leave Chrome to her work and find themselves in the forest.
So
of
you learn,
ready
like,
to unseal self.
Yeah, you learn real quick that the reason why Chrome was so invested in necromancy is because she wants to find a way to fix her big sister, and that's like of course she wants to return the prestige of her family's of the artiste family's name, because they used to be known as like one of the greatest artisans in the world when it came to the 3 legendary magic crafts of spirit summoning, puppetry, and necromancy. So she was trying to become the best at all 3.
But instead of self, they find gnome. Alice thinks that the spirits were likely shuffled environments so that they would be weakened and couldn't regain any power. Dragging
that
Gnome
makes
out of
sense.
the forest and venturing into the Sabasa desert, Gnome rejoins Luca, allowing him to use the spirit powers once again. However, until the seal is fully broken, Luca will only be able to use Breath of the Earth. Remember Promestine's mass-produced spirits? The original spirits will be your main defense against them. Until now, even low-level monsters with a spirit could give Luca a tough fight. But Luca will quickly figure out that an original spirit of the opposite element completely counters the fake spirit.
Yeah, the fake spirits are really strong. The fake spirits are really strong, but they're really like one note. So it's like if you're fighting against Zilf, you just go with Gnome. Because like, you know, elements counter each other. Because like,
the artificial spirits.
Okay, yeah, they're explaining. She's explaining right now.
Blows, but activating Gnome's solid defense will make Luca take barely any damage at all. The Sabasa Kingdom is being besieged by opportunistic monsters. This time, the Queen Vampire and her army. Luca beats them as
the Vampire Queen just sitting there with her bits out.
Stopping by to save Witch Hunt
Which
Village,
I know I would do. It's a
joins the
desert.
tentacle
It's a
villagers and
desert.
fighting even more artificial monsters.
Also, that's gotta
And then
censor
they're
that whole
shocked to
thing.
see that the women they love are secretly half tentacle monsters, but see no other option than to accommodate them anyway, of course.
I mean, I wouldn't
Luca
mind.
finds himself back in the Safar ruins where Sylph is found as expected. What they didn't expect to see is a full-size Sylph, which is apparently her form when she's out of energy. Sylph rejoins Luca and, unlike Gnome, adds something new. You see, fallen angels.
I find it funny how Sylph only looks like a full-grown adult woman and not like a little chibi dork whenever she's just drained of all of her energy.
Angel Dance was already like a level 1 Sylph, granting dodge chance and immunity to status effects. So, Sylph merges her wind powers with Luca's wind-esque holy powers, combining the two into a single ability, Fallen Angel Dance Gale. Gaining Sylph's powers back gives you a proper counter to the artificial spirit Gnomerin. Gnomerin gives the user slow but insanely powerful attacks, something that Sylph is able to dodge with ease. Moving onward to the Granular Kingdom, Luca rejoins the Colosseum, except this time the whole audience is being held hostage. You join the former Colosseum challengers in taking down the artificial monsters in a strangely honorable battle. In Yamatai Village, Gnome buffs the 4th bandit, the Goblin Girl, into a stronger form, and she joins in on taking back the village from a few monsters who want to be worshipped really badly. Unfortunately, the next step in the conquest is Plainsec Village, which Luca only just recently
not Plainsec Village. Oh no.
Still, he stops another civil war, this time caused by one of the Next Doll's brainwashing. Luca and Alice are still outclassed by the powers of the Next Doll, so the Queen Alvaroon sacrifices herself to poison the doll. The doll barely escapes, and the village is safe for now. This place is not good for Luca's mental state.
Yeah,
for him,
get out of there.
In spring to see Arabetty with some human refugees taking shelter. Before Salamander can rejoin Luca, a slime girl suddenly dissolves, having been poisoned by a different slime girl working for Black Alice. Arabetty is saddened, but there's no time for that because Luca parries a Next Doll attack.
Honestly, I'd say saddened is a bit of an understatement here, because like that, seeing one of her own people killing other slimes, it shatters Arabetty. Like she is like her entire worldview has been like, I do what I do to protect the slimes in our environment, and seeing one of her own die at the hands of another slime, it shattered her and like completely disillusioned her.
Arabetty. Had Luca not parried, Arabetty would be done for, as this Next Doll is designed to kill her. The doll's weapons vibrate, killing every slime cell it touches before they can regenerate.
Oh yeah, like
Luca and everybody focus on
Luca
evacuating all
Luca
the
had a
poison
very
humans
bad
and
time at
monsters
playing
before
Sect
turning their
Village.
attention on the next doll and another angel. Once the angel is dead, the now surrendered next doll falls back. Everybody is now even more sad, going through an existential crisis, having been betrayed by a slime and saved
First
by a
time.
human. Luca reminds her that people are defined by ideals, not race, and she goes away. Salamander is finally able to rejoin Luca, although since the spirits are unable to be used in tandem until the seal is broken, she goes back to her niche usage. With only one more spirit to go, Luca departs for the Grand Gold region and immediately rushes into the kingdom.
Right back to
protected
Grand
by a bunch
Gold.
of invading, space-time distorting spiders. He shows no mercy to the spider prince.
Yeah, I don't know why the spiders specifically have space-time abilities. I don't know why that they have that, but they do, I guess.
Princess attempting to domesticate humans at the promise of Black Alice, sealing her away with the help of Grand Gold mages. Black Alice's manipulation has really taken hold of the whole continent. Succubus Village is being threatened by a massive self-sustaining barrier, and the only way to fight power is with the lack of power. Amira and her goons are here to save the day.
Oh god.
No one really
I
knows
love
how,
the
but their unfortunate appearances are enough to deactivate the barrier.
I
haven't
love the
mentioned Amira, but she's
unfortunates.
been in every single kingdom, acting as our information gatherer. She's
I
very
love the
useful, but
unfortunates
Luca and
so
Alice
much.
still hate her. Hypocritical
They're
much?
so
Well, not
funny.
really, because she's constantly lying, fourth wall breaking, and flirting with Luca. Still, the village is very appreciative of the bunch. Thus,
I love the unfortunates so much. They're like literally like Almira is the most reoccurring character outside of Luca and Alice. She acts as the information broker for every town, constantly hitting on you and breaking the fourth wall. It's like Amira shows up and it's like, I know it's disappointing, but I don't have any H scenes. I'm sorry. You're going to have to get over that right away. Or like being like, oh, excuse me, let me teleport out of here. And then the attack effect plays and it's like, oh, this is the wrong effect. I meant to play effect number 3. It's the funniest shit in the world. It's like, you have like Almira, who is a reverse Lamia, where she has the legs of a woman and the head and the upper body of a snake. And then the other unfortunates that has like, where instead of just having the wings and legs of a harpy, she has the arms and legs of a human and the upper body of a bird. And another one where her lower body is human and the upper body is a fish. Yeah, the unfortunates are hilarious. Also funny about the succubus, that was the black-haired succubus who was just like in a bikini. It's the funniest thing about her in Paradox is that rather than her being like an invading force in Succubus Village, she's just a homeless succubus who just like preys off of the occasional traveler and forces her way in your party when you come to confront her, so she's not homeless anymore. It's almost charming with how sad her life is. And she's literally like every other character has a job of some kind that they have. Hers is just unemployment. Hers is unemployed. She's unemployed.
brings us to Goldport, another trauma point for Luca. The recently
More
unsealed
trauma.
Lazarus rushes out to defend the town out of instinct. He is easily defeated, but remembers his original motives for being an adventurer, being cheered on by others for protecting those that needed him the most. He fights dirty, tricking the invaders, but
There's
jumps
gullible
away
written in
from a
the
shot
sky.
for a wandering child. Lying on the ground, satisfied that he saved someone the same way Marcella saved him all those years ago, he prepares to die. Luca saves him at the nick of time, and Lazarus questions if Ilias really did decide to end the world. Regardless, he asks Luca for a light. Salamander appears of her own volition, and the two form a temporary contract. Luca and the inflamed Lazarus defeat the invaders, but afterward Luca only finds a charred Lazarus laying on the ground. Lazarus is buried next to Marcellus, as per his final request. Neither Luca nor Alice forgive Lazarus, but are unable to deny that his final actions were selfless.
Yeah, I love how in Paradox, in MGQ Paradox, rather than, because like in Paradox, because of the circumstances surrounding the time paradox wibbity wobbityness of the game, Elias Cruz is never founded in this timeline. So instead of him forming a terrorist group, Lazarus becomes the leader of just like a mafia. He becomes like a shadow leader of a mafia and supports you and your party throughout the game with like information and shit. Also, hi there, only follow bottoms. Welcome to the HQ. I will not confirm nor deny that.
Continuing to Gold Volcano, Luca battles
Oh
two
god,
creepy
this
yet
one.
extremely powerful
God.
dimension-corroding angels.
Yeah, if the freaky dog, if how large the freaky dog PNG is an indicator of this kind of monster, yeah.
Leading him to question whether Ilias's forces are getting desperate. Luca, hopefully desensitized by this point, finds Undine in the volcano, and the two
You can only hope he's
All four spirits
desensitized.
returned and the region saved. The only place left is the Monster Lord's castle. Tamamo is already there and is studying the data she found in Remina. From it, she located the point of the spirit's seal, 4 towers at each of the cardinal points of the world. Rather than simply destroy the seal, Tamamo comes up with a plan to instead alter the seal to target angels instead, making them actually able to be harmed. An angel's seal exists at the sealed sinner's prison, so data could be recorded there. As for Alice's seal, there are 2 labs in need of investigation, one under Fairy's Island and another under the Forest of Spirits. Beginning with Alice, the duo
I would
enter a
totally
hidden lab
recommend
just like the
playing
one at
this
Remina.
Portal,
This
honestly.
is where the monstrosities of Ilias's forces are
Like,
being created.
it's a fantastic
and Luca
game.
even stumbles upon a replicant, the very being that Ilias intends to replace humans with. They find the master of the lab, Laplace, another member of Promising Seekers of Truth. Surprisingly, she is entirely machine. Her purpose is to defend the lab, and that she does.
Yeah, she's
Luca
just a
beats her,
robot.
and right as she attains self-consciousness, a self-destruction failsafe activates, and the lab explodes.
God, that's honestly one of the saddest things, that Laplace was able to gain self-consciousness and self-affirmation and question her own ideals. And as soon as that happens, the base's self-destruct sequence happens.
So disheartened and confused on why promising would give a machine self-consciousness, the two head on to the second lab. Chrome appears, and it turns out she was tracking her sister to the lab all this time. The 3 of them invade the lab, but are separated by a trap involving yummy food. Luca finds Lacrosse first, and fights against her circus of undead monsters, culminating in Lacrosse unleashing Alice the 15th. Unfortunately, Luca takes too long to defeat her, causing Alice and Chrome to appear to help Luca kill it. Mid-battle, a furious Luca charges Lacrosse while Alice and Chrome hold off the circus. Wanting nothing more than to end her morbid amusement, he finishes her off, surprisingly revealing her to be robotic from the spine down. This was the consequence of her and Chrome's failed experiment together all those years ago. Chrome puts her sister to rest, and Alice understandably sulks, while Luca locates Alice's seal. He finds the seal.
Yeah, so the story behind Chrome and LaCroix is Chrome and LaCroix were performing some experimentation together with, with their science and all that. And what happened is Chrome, and the reason why Chrome blamed herself and took on the responsibility of dealing with her sister is because Chrome accidentally mixed the wrong ingredients for the experiment. And don't worry, Portal, I'll link you the game. You've been gifting me all kinds of game on Steam. I will send you this one. But yeah, Chrome mixed the wrong ingredients for the experiment. And what happened is, well, it exploded. The ingredients caused a combustion and exploded. LaCroix managed to save her sister and prevent her death, but by the time she made sure that Chrome was okay, she looked down and realized that she was blown in half. So, using the last of her strength, she used her own necromancy magic to literally revive herself as a zombie the second she died. So that she was basically dead long enough for her magic to consider her a zombie and raise her back from the dead. And because it was so quick, it was a blink. She didn't lose her self-consciousness the way a normal zombie would. But because of her new zombie incarnation, she was slowly and steadily losing her soul and losing her empathy over time. And because of that, and she didn't attain like a shred of it until the very end, Chrome took it under herself to put her sister out of her misery and end her unfortunate, wretched existence. It's a much sadder story when you play it yourself, but it is phenomenal. And this is a Euro game we're talking about.
But is guarded by incredible holy energy, too strong for even the angel halo. They come to the conclusion that once the angel seal is put into place, the holy energy will distort and be able to be destroyed. The final task is to copy the angel seal at the sealed sinner's prison. Black Alice reappears to mess with Luca, ending in a whole vanguard of high-ranking angels.
A whole mess of angels show up.
The angels accuse Black Alice of interfering with Ilias, prompting her to leave. As the angels descend upon Luca, the soul of the angel killer Heinrich himself exits the statue and possesses Luca. His soul has been freed by Alice's tampering with the seal, and after 500 long years, he finally gets to kick some angel ass. He swiftly dispatches the angel.
Yeah, Heinrich shows you why he is the boss.
Those skills are Quad Spirit Summon, Element Spica, and Quadruple Giga. While Luca's body may be stronger, Heinrich's mastery of the spirits is far stronger, allowing his Quadruple Giga to be over twice as strong. Heinrich deems Luca worthy of the hero's soul, but warns him not to be a failure like him so he could go home to his loved ones once the war was over. Heinrich's soul then fades into eternal rest. Luca and Alice reunite with the Heavenly Knights at the castle to discuss their final assault. Tamamo made special discs that are able to hack the towers, however they have to be inserted manually and simultaneously, so each of the 4 knights will head to corresponding towers.
This was honestly one of the cooler points.
If even one Heavenly Knight is incapacitated, the plane will fail.
So do we go on 1 or go? Like, this was the coolest moment too, because you fight each of the Nextals. Like, you fight each of the Nextals, not as Luca, but as one of the Heavenly Knights, and you play as the knight for each fight, and it's so cool.
Once the towers are hijacked, the full powers of the spirits will be unleashed, and the angels will become vulnerable. Most importantly, Luca will then be able to invade heaven itself. All of the human lords and monster queens are teleported into the castle and are given a rundown of the plan. At the end, Luca gives a speech about coexistence and how Ilias is the final obstacle towards resolving the conflicts plaguing their lives. It is his duty as the spirit of a hero to end Ilias, leading to all the kings and queens acknowledging all he has done for the world in such a short period. Tamamo explains that she learned the second wave of angels will invade tomorrow, and they must all hold the line against the angels.
Yeah, they have a day to do this. They have a single day to take care of this.
From only shortly meeting his childhood hero, gets some much-needed rest.
He takes a nappy.
For a while. On the dawn of the final day, Luca wakes up to find his body slightly corroded from holy energy. Ignoring it for now,
that's
the navel of the world.
Yeah, that's a problem. Your body's turning into angelic goo because you've been overusing your power, dog.
To get ready. Empty, but still beautiful, he waits at the gate of heaven. Meeting him at the gate is Luca, Promosine's counter to Luca. The doppelganger counters every single one of his attacks, mimicking all of his skills and abilities. So, the only way to beat the known is with the unknown. Luca recalls his experience of Heinrich in his body and unleashes Element Spica. This is a weak.
Yeah, imagine having to fight a lady clone of yourself.
Does not require any charge up. Unable to counter, the fake hero is eliminated. All that's left
the
is to wait for the seal
hero
to be broken. At each of the 4 towers, the Heavenly Knights face their toughest battles yet, but they didn't come unprepared. Alma is once again met with Hainuele, her Nextal counter. Hainuele is just as fast as her and is immune to her usual succubus powers, so Alma resorts to an
asexual queen.
Thousands of years. Her bare fists. She pummels the fragile doll with martial arts, securing her victory.
I also love that too, that like Elma fights almost exclusively using seduction-based attacks, but the minute she's driven into a corner and can't rely on them, she reveals the fact that she's also a master martial artist and just beats the hell out of her opponent with her bare hands. Like, she is like master martial artist. Like, that's even more expanded upon in Paradox, where it's like she has her own little mini arc during one of the routes where it's like she wants to prove that a succubus like her can be strong without having to rely on like sexual arts and being like a master of martial arts techniques.
Tamamo faces Tsukuyomi, whose unnatural strength and earth magic is greater than her own. Tsukuyomi corners Tamamo, but Tamamo merely grins and tells the doll that she is merely a pawn in Promosine's rebellion against Ilias. She then uses Word of Dispel to bring her back to her 6th ancestor form.
Also, yeah, Also, yeah, Tamamo, that was her sealed form the entire time. This is her real form now. Now she's busting out her true power.
Arabetty meets Amphisbina, whose weapons can make quick work of the night by disabling her regeneration. Arabetty dodges around, trying to overheat the doll. Running out of time, she clings to the doll and activates a nuclear explosion in her cells, just enough to eviscerate the doll without permanently killing herself. Lastly,
blowing herself up,
CL, and the two engage in a duel. The doll is proud of her strength, but Grambaria chastises her for having been given her body and never actually growing at all. Grambaria showcases a true warrior's soul, the power to grow. She perfectly imitates the quadruple Giga that Luca used against her, overpowering the doll. The doll is happy to be defeated, as being created to be a warrior, but physically unable to improve is hell. With the tower secured, the knights teleport.
Honestly, that too right there shows us how powerful and amazing of a swordswoman that Grambaria is. The fact that she was able to get hit by quadruple Giga once, and then able to perfectly recreate it like that.
To each other and inside
That's how tough she is.
The gate of heaven opens and Luca charges through. Heaven has an otherworldly appearance, but is strangely calming. Seraph Eden descends to arrest him for invading heaven, but also as an excuse to arrest Lucifina's son. Alice, now unsealed, joins Luca in his fight, and the two.
Yeah, it is funny to me just how much of an ego that Eden has, because it's like she hates anything that has to do with with the number 3. Because it constantly reminds her that she is not, in fact, the first archangel made. Or, well, the first seraph made. The first 2 seraphs were... the first seraph was, I believe, Michaela, and the second was Lucifina. And then the third was Eden. And the fact that the first 2 betrayed Ilias, she resents the fact that she was the third.
To defeat the leader of the angel army. But right as Eden is slain, Promisine appears to use this chance to initiate her grand scheme of betraying Ilias, which Tamamo had gathered from the discs. She and Black Alice are going to use the 6 Ancestors' Great Seal on Ilias, rendering her temporarily powerless. Then Black Alice will inject a drug containing Alice the First genes into herself and devour Ilias alive. This will combine both dark and holy energy into one almighty creation. But she sees a chance with Luca and his immense holy energy. She injects the drug into herself, transforming into an ungodly being of dark energy and seaweed, hoping to devour
seaweed specifically
herself. She is defeated and melts away, but not before given a chance to solemnly sulk, having been betrayed by Black Alice already. She knows someone leaked Ilias' plans of a second wave attack, resulting in all her chimeras and dolls being countered and defeated. That person
slowly fading away.
She declares humanity her successor, hoping that humanity will use technology to surpass her own.
Yeah, it's so jarring seeing so many ladies in clothes. Also, yeah, another character that had amazing arcs in Paradox is Promestine, because there's actually 2 different Promestines in Paradox, because Paradox involves a lot of time travel and multiple universes. Early on into the game, you meet a younger Promestine from like the early days of Heaven, and you invite her into your party, and she becomes a mainstay in your party, specializing in like grimoire-based magic. But then later on, you also encounter an older Promestine who has been working on trying to solve the crisis that was destroying the multiverse. But like, one thing, like, there's so much character like involved, like interaction, and like honestly, the kind of bond that builds between Luca and the younger Promestine is great. Because, like, in one of the endings where it's, like, towards, like, the climax of the second act in Paradox, you have to choose between what route and what ending you want to head to. If you haven't played both endings yet and you choose to find a third way to save the world, you basically go off on your own and, like, helplessly try to fix things. It's all conveyed through cutscenes, but you helplessly go off to try to fix things on your own, only to watch as your world crumbles away into chaos. And the last 2 people alive at the end of that world is Luca and Promestine, who Promestine basically decided to dedicate the last 30 years that they had together to train and teach Luca science so they could create an android life form that could harness and master chaos to send back in time, back to their selves from another time to join the party and help in their journey. And that robot is Brunhilde, who you find earlier in the game. Yeah, it is like, I love like the weird bond that Luca and Promethazine have in Paradox.
Work, and eventually those are the gods. Approaching the center of heaven is their penultimate battle, Black Alice. She turns monstrous, growing in size and then growing even further upon injecting the drug into herself.
It's just 90% goofy dog image.
Years ago. Luca and Alice kill her, but are given no chance to recover as Ilias emerges from her corpse. Luca throws his last chance to side with Ilias away and turns his sword on the goddess. Ilias contorts into her true primordial form. Overwhelmed but never giving up, the two fight Ilias with all their might.
Oh yeah, these games are wild. I will link them to you, Portal. Don't worry.
Betty steps in right after, shielding Luca and Alice with her own body until it's nearly all gone. An unsealed Tamamo covers her escape, throwing fire at Ilias until her timer runs out. Granbaria rushes in after, unleashing a barrage of vaporizing rebellion swords. Again and again, one after another, even as she is on the verge of collapse.
The last boss here, the final battle here is so epic.
Blade of Heaven. Then she uses it again before departing with Granbaria. A weakened Ilias tries to appeal to Luca, so he goes all in for the kill. He charges Quadruple Giga while Alice covers him. All of the spirits join together and pour into his blade. Before the final swing, he imbues the blade with his own holy energy, and Alice pours her own dark energy in as well. A blade of wind, earth, water, fire, holy and dark, flowing together as one, descends onto Alice, exploding into
her anatomy. Yeah, Black Alice's anatomy in her true form is wild.
In the afterlife, Luca finds his whole body to be corroded by holy energy, and a normal Ilias standing before him. She recalls how she became a goddess to escape loneliness, and ponders what would have happened if she never tried it. Luca understands, recounting how he once was obsessed with what it meant to be a hero, and how Alice was once obsessed with what it meant to be a monster lord. Everyone, even a goddess, is bound by their own viewpoints. Knowing her existence is ending as they speak, Ilias uses the last of her power to cleanse Luca's body of holy corrosion, before fading away. Her final gift is being the goddess she should have been. Luca wakes up 1 month later with Alice by his bedside, overjoyed that he awoke from his coma. Over the past month, Ilias's remaining forces surrendered.
Yeah, honestly, the story of Ilias is just kind of sad.
Take a small trip around the world.
Because it's like, it's a story of someone with infinite power who doesn't know how to be a god.
With Luca about Ilias's final words and actions. No one truly understands what she wanted in the end, but are thankful it turned out the way it did. Monsters even live in Luca's hometown now, while angels live in San Ilya and other cities. Coexistence came true all over the world. Luca's friends around the world greet him and invite him to all sorts of gatherings. They discover a heavily romanticized book about Luca's journey, clearly written by Amira. Strangely enough, all around the world,
that's the funniest bit.
Everyone. Ending the world trip at the Monster Lord's castle, Tamamo congratulates Luca for passing her test. She asked everyone to make passes at Luca to test his faith in Alice. With that done, she now officializes their marriage. Luca thinks they're going way too fast.
Don't be rash.
Processing the situation a bit. Fast forward a few months, Luca and Alice continue to travel the world, enjoying the coexistence and resolving any small issues that arise. The four spirits become the object of worship after Ilias, and with their newfound prayers, they finally have the energy to live among everyone else. Luca questions the workings of his new half-angel body, but ensures that he will live with his wife until the very end, no matter what. And that's Monster Girl Quest.
Yep. Yep. And also, in Monster Girl Quest Paradox, it's not very subtle. It's not very subtle, and it's easy to catch on. It's very easy to catch on. But in Monster Girl Quest Paradox, because of the game involving time travel and alternate universes, the game Paradox takes place in what is called the Singularity Universe, because it is the Singularity Timeline universe is the universe that is one step between the true history and the rest of the greater multiverse. And two reoccurring characters in the Paradox in this timeline that you meet are they are actually Luca and Alice's twin son and daughter. So yes, they do have kids. Oh yeah, Paradox is amazing. I love Paradox so much. Also, thank you, Zirgarim. I hope I got that right. Zirgarim, welcome to the HQ. Thank you for the follow.
There's plenty I left out, mostly related to combat or smaller character interactions, so there's plenty to enjoy if you wish to play the game for yourself. Also, it won't be censored by a funny dog.
The 7 freaky dog souls.
Gameplay and beautiful or grotesque artwork is what kept me
Oh,
going
yeah.
between the story.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
super cool how the monsters
Beautiful
get
and
more
grotesque.
more monstrous to the point where they aren't even meant to be sexy anymore.
Yeah.
The player, along with Luca, are so motivated by the characters and ideals that you lose all interest in losing to see the
Oh,
extra
yeah.
scenes.
This
It's just
game
another
was an
layer of gameplay
inspiration to
ties into
many
the
people.
story. Other than just for thematic effect, there are some parts of the gameplay that affect the story by making things easier to understand. The most important of which are evaluations. When you lose a fight, you are given an option to view an evaluation by Goddess Ilias. She will give a brief overview of the battle, along with hints to deal with the enemy's mechanics. But as the game progresses, she gets more and more unhinged. She will berate you for falling into traps or accuse you of intentionally losing, whether that's true or not. When you obtain the spirits, she suggests you use them like slaves for their power. By the time you arrive at Helgondo, she outright commands you to massacre the monsters.
Yeah, this is one thing I love about one of the meta things I love about this game is the fact that as you progress further into the game, Ilias, like if you lose, you get an option to be able to hear like assessments on the specific fight from Ilias. And like as you slowly like progress further into the game, Ilias's assessments gets more and more deranged and demanding on you killing the monster instead of just sealing them away. And it's such a phenomenal way to kind of show Ilias's further descent into madness in like a meta sense.
Various bloody ways. Once the angels descend, Ilias remains to give you evaluations.
She's so
telling you the
crazy,
hidden
not me
master
though.
of good within her. This facade will quickly fade, and she returns to her hateful attitude. If you try to evaluate during Ilias's first phase, though, she will laugh at you, claiming she was never good and was merely leading you on the path to killing Black Alice for her. The evaluation for Ilias's true form is done by Lucifina, Luca's mother. She gives a normal assessment, but at the end regrets her choices that led to Luca's difficult life and wishes for him to enjoy the peace that his success.
No, this game is not the Undertale of Eurogay. That would be a game called Shrift. That is also a really good Monster Girl game, and I 100% recommend it.
Success will bring. The other mechanic I want to mention is the dialogue trees. While they don't affect the overall story,
And yes, I do mean that specifically because Shrift and its narrative has a lot to do with like. Okay, I'll talk about Shrift later after I get done with this before I end stream.
they affect the game itself quite a bit. You are often put into situations where you choose what Luca will say, and the different options will change your experience of the game, the most obvious of which are the game overs. For example, if you choose to leave Alice in the crater where they first met, Luca will arrive for his baptism, but Ilias will still be gone. This is because Alice was fighting Ilias, leaving her missing for the time being. Alice was easily defeated, but still able to put a scratch in her, proving that goddesses can bleed. Luca wanders around.
Yeah, no way she's gonna show up for the baptism. No way she was going to show up for the baptism with a scar.
She will spot you anyway, but call you wise and spare you. Alice will straight up ditch you for his cowardly behavior, and the game ends. If you join the Colosseum but refuse to fight the champion, Luca develops a fear of monsters, and Alice ditches him.
She's right behind me, isn't she?
The first Colosseum entrance entirely, including the meeting with Alma. Since Alma does not train you in the ways of Sylph during the grand finale, Alice will instead teach you the new abilities later in the game. It is never a good idea to skip out on a battle because you lose out on XP and miss a page of the Monsterpedia. The Monsterpedia is a book
very
you can
important
access in the menu detailing every monster you've encountered thus far. The info page tells you about a monster's daily life, abilities, habits, and backstory. On the data page, you can view their art along with their stats. The recall page allows you to refight the monster at various difficulties. Do not try hell mode unless you need an achievement. It is awful.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Music over and over because it is amazing.
Also,
This
is a banging soundtrack.
Appreciated. Another part about the game I love is just how big it is. One of my favorite things to see in any game is when you think you are nearing the end, just for the game to throw you a middle finger and reveal that you aren't even halfway done. There are 241 fights in this game, each one having unique artwork and lost scenes. It's insane.
241 fights with unique monster girls. 241.
Make such a large game with a small group of passionate artists, fully knowing that it will remain niche by nature of being an Erogay is unbelievable. and really goes to show how passionate these people are for both their game and community. What's even more impressive is doing all of that and writing an incredible, progressive story at the same time. The overall themes of coexistence and religion are explained very well in the story, so I won't waste time explaining those here. I trust my viewers to have reading comprehension. What is worth mentioning, though, is all the biblical references. Some are more obvious, such as Lucifina, the fallen angel, being a direct reference to Lucifer, the original fallen angel.
Yeah.
So nearly every angel enemy is based off of some biblical event or theme, and that directly ties into their design and behavior. Obviously, it's still fetish content, but the
of course,
part is that it's fetish content with care. With all the cool parts
fetish content with care. That's the important part.
out of the way, now I gotta mention all the
Oh no, this isn't the one that I have 300 hours in. That would be MGQ Paradox, which is a proper world-spanning turn-paced RPG maker game. That one's the one I have 300 hours in. Yeah, it is a ginormous game. I'll link to them. I'll link to both games in my Discord after this. I'll like in my Discord server, I'll link to them both.
bad parts. As much as it pains me for it to be this way, Monster Girl Quest is not ethical.
Yeah, what are the only bad points of this game? Like, she's going to get into it in a minute, but one of the only bad points of this game is some of the non-ethical shit that's in it, and God, I hate that it's in it.
There are a few designs in the game which clearly depict underage enemies. The core premise of the game is being attacked by these monsters. It happens after every loss, including these ones, tragically. It does not matter that they are monsters, it is very bad, and no one should support this behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I swapped them with funny stock photo images rather than just censoring part of the image. I wouldn't feel comfortable showing any of it. Thankfully, it is such a small percentage of the game that I kind of just blocked it out of my mind, but it eats away from my enjoyment of the game when I think about it as a whole. There's also the case of Luca himself, and while the game implies he's an adult, having gone through his coming-of-age ceremony, there's no official confirmation, and the art style does not help.
Yeah, the art style, it does not help in the slightest on placing how old Luca is. Like he has like general anime pro tag face, but like, and the game implies that like, oh yeah, you're an adult now, you're ready to receive your baptism, and like, yeah, he's tiny, he's tiny baby man, but like look at like his, like, granted, the one on the left is his dad. That's his dad, Marcellus. So you can it's hard to tell the difference sometimes. The one in the middle is him though. But then you have like his cut-in animation there, where he just looks like straight up locked in. He looks like a freaking Fire Emblem character at that point. But yeah,
there are other more recent Monster Girl games with badass, clearly stated adult protagonists. So I wish the game followed suit. It hurts because the whole game follows an incredibly righteous journey about equality and religious abuse, and yet fails to condemn a separate but obvious failing of society, one especially rampant in Japan. I don't think it's wrong to enjoy this game. There's no piece of media in the world that is perfect, and it's okay to like the good parts and dislike the bad parts.
Basically, there's no such thing as ethical consumption of media. Always remember that.
You're not a bad person for enjoying something with bad qualities as long as you have the maturity to understand why it's bad.
Precisely.
It would be a shame for the game to not be appreciated for what it is because of its mistakes. And I know a lot of you may have thought by now that this is just an adult game. It can't be that serious. While being an adult game is a valid reason to not like a game, it isn't a valid reason to disregard it. Fate, one of the most popular franchises in Japan, originally started as an adult visual novel. Now, I don't think this game is ever going to take the same route as Fate, but what a lot of people fail to realize is that so many subgenres are started by fetishists. And even if they evolve past that, to deny that history is a disservice to the genre itself.
Exactly.
After all, history is the best place to learn from, and it's plain disrespectful to disregard those who built the foundation of the things you enjoy. If Monster Girl Quest taught me one thing, it's that puritanism sucks and monster girls are hot. I don't know.
Absolutely. And that was the story of Monster Girl Quest, one of my favorite games of all time. So, as you can see, it's a game with a lot of good and some bad stuff in it that I really wish it wasn't in it, but I can't decide to just hate an entire piece of media because it has one little bad aspect in it. But if you do, that's perfectly fair. You know, you do you. But yeah, it is one of the peak perfect examples of a Eroge type game where you come for the hot monster girls and you stay for the overarching plot and the story. And I can't help but love the game. I can't help it. But yeah, let me know what you thought about that in the comments below. What's your favorite monster girl? Do you have a favorite? Mine, oh god, it's up there. Like, I love, like, some of my favorite monster girls are Alice, Granberria, Chrome. I love them. But yeah, let me know who your favorite monster girl is down in the comments below. And of course, do not forget to hit like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and ding that bell so you know when I upload, and it helps me out in the algorithm. And as always, I will see you next time at the HQ. Bye-bye.